Planet Crafter has become one of my favorite games of all time. It was me, a lonely space convict, a red barren planet, and the eventual knowledge of every conceivable terraformation machine at my fingertips, which in time allowed me to transform this once dormant world into a thriving habitable planet, with multiple bustling ecosystems, jaw-dropping visual sights, all of which I enjoyed by my lonesome. Or was I? Because as I explored this vacant sphere, I came across evidence to suggest otherwise. But to complete 100% of Planet Crafter, I needed to focus on my assigned task, which is to fully terraform this dead planet in exchange for my freedom. What mysteries lie over that barren landscape for me to uncover? Why do I come across so many crashed spaceships, and why am I finding evidence of a civilization on this supposedly uninhabited planet? All will be revealed because I played 100% of Planet Crafter. This story begins with a spacepod plummeting down through a thick haze, with a message warning me of imminent impact.
Imminent impact. Imminent impact.
After a crash landing, I completely missed the message I have on my screen to the left, and instead I welcomed myself onto a completely red barren planet. Lifepod looks a little bit banged up, but that's okay. Perhaps I can scavenge all these resources I see on the ground to help me fix my ship. Let's see what else survived the crash landing. A little bit of food, some water, and oxygen bottles. I also have a small crafting station where I can make a few bits and pieces, but of course all this will require those aforementioned resources. So I head back outside and I use my left mouse button to laser up some of these resources. That was silicon you saw just then, and also a little bit of magnesium, some titanium, cobalt, there's even big chunks of ice out here, so it must be a cold planet. I also come across iron, and a quick glance at my backpack and I see my inventory is nearly filled up. I rush back to my spacepod and I take note that my oxygen bar is about half full. Once inside, I replenish my oxygen canisters, which is quite handy, but this does mean I can never stray too far away from my oxygen supply, or else I will perish. Speaking of which, I just made myself a bigger O2 tank, so that means I can stray just that little bit further now. Instead of 100 seconds, I now have 145, a solid 45% increase. So I do stray a little further looking for more resources. My inventory capacity is a problem though. Looks like a grub or something, but I doubt anything living, except for me, is on this planet right now. I used 2 iron pieces to make myself a bigger backpack. Every little bit helps, you know? I can now carry 16 things instead of 12. I also make myself a deconstruction chip, because I could. But I need 2 pieces of magnesium to make the opposite one, which is the construction chip. That's 1 magnesium. Oh, there's a chest here. Wonder if this is from my own pod. And no matter, some good stuff in here, including that missing magnesium piece plus an eggplant seed, which I'll save for later. I have myself a construction chip now. In fact, my chip limit has been reached, so no more until I can expand my equipment carrying capacity. So what's next? I have a to-do list apparently. Looks like I need to work towards a living space, some kind of drill and a wind turbine, and what looks to be a terraformation screen. I'd like to make myself a little home, and from outside I see where I would like to do that, up on that hill. So with the resources I need, I skedaddly do my way up there, find lots of flat ground, and I place down my first living compartment. I slap a door on this bad boy right away, and once I pop inside, I can replenish my O2. Very convenient. I press Q, and I have a look at the build menu, and I decide storage crates should be the first thing I need to make. They only cost 1 iron each, and inside I place down the first of many. I dump everything, freeing my inventory, and I decide to go and grab everything I have left in my initial pod down below. I also make sure to go snatch up that chest I saw before, and once it's empty, I deconstruct it to get back resources used to make it, and in this case it's a single piece of iron, which I can then use myself to expand my own storage. I also organize these chests, like having a designated food and water chest to make things easier. Now, I remembered something as I ran to fetch the other chest out in the wild. Actually, I forgot to read my message about what I was supposed to be doing. Hey, there's iridium in here. Now, iridium is a rarer ore than the other ones, but back to that message. Right, so what is my actual mission here? Read the message. Welcome to your assigned planet. Your mission is to advance the terraformation process of this world. You'll need to generate O2, heat and pressure, and you need to first reach 175,000 Ti and create a blue atmosphere. Okay. Well, I can see up there it is Terraformation Index, so TI is probably that. Well, sounds like I'm a man on a mission. Also, apparently the year is 3058. Fair enough. Back at my new home, I make myself a tier 2 crafting station. It does the same as the other one, except I can make a tier 1 exoskeleton upgrade here, which increases the equipment capacity I have, which were those chips I mentioned before. I also craft up some water bottles using ice I found. Drinking one bottle completely quenches my thirst, which is good news. My hunger is fine for now, but it won't be for long. I make myself that exoskeleton. I have to remove something first and then put it on, but it doubles my equipment capacity. So now I have enough space for a torch chip as well. So in my building options, I see the drill, wind turbine and a heater that I can make. But I decide to expand my home a little first, and I end up with a 2x3 as the first night starts to blanket this red planet. It's very dark in here a bit later, so I should work on a power source. I build some stairs to the top of my home and I build a wind turbine on top. There we go, everything's just turned on. And now inside, I can actually see what I have in here. I have more things to make, so I gather up a storm. Because looking at my to-do list, it seems to be expanding with a heater and now a veggie tube as well. I craft my first drills for now, and that TI, Terraformation Index, is finally going up. Generates pressure by releasing gases trapped within the ground. So they generate that much pressure per second and they take that much energy, which is those guys there, so I kind of have to balance my energy in that regard. That is correct, there will be plenty of machines that will need power later on. I was reorganizing my chests and making sure all my specific resources go in their designated spots. And then I unlock a new blueprint. It seems I get new blueprints over time. I also eat my first bag of space food. I don't have a reliable food source at this time, so this is a slight concern for me. However, keeping warm would be less of a concern because I just made my first heater with that iridium I found before. Ooh. Okay, that has shut down everything apparently. Yep, so this means I need more wind turbines. Luckily, one extra is enough at this point. But I need more information at my disposal. So I make myself a table, get distracted with a big oxygen tank, which I breathe easily with, whilst there seems to be some kind of sandstorm raging outside. Back to that empty table, and I place some information screens here. There we go, wonderful. So it can show us here that our oxygen at the moment is absolutely 0. Our heat is 55 pk, I have no idea what pk stands for. Pressure, 165 npa, and it's going at 40 npas. And there's our total terraformation. I make a blueprint screen and an energy supply screen next. Okay, blueprints is going to show me what I can get and when. So I can see at 300 Ti, which we're about 50 away, I'm going to get the bigger backpack. And at 1 KTI, that's probably going to be not too far away, we get a solar panel, which is good. Excellent. Very good. So this shows us what we're going to unlock over the course of the game. And if I find a blueprint microchip and decode them here, okay, looks like we'll be able to find stuff. This shows us that we have currently that many wind turbines going at the moment, and there's something outside. The power one shows me how much power I'm generating and how much I'm using. I'm jumping in here because past me gets interrupted. There is something magical about standing on a red barren planet seeing your first meteor shower, topped off with a new backpack blueprint. So once it was 16 spaces, now I have 20 spaces. All 20 of these spaces are going to be filled with some random piece of resource. But as I'm running back home, something catches my eye. That is most definitely a ship over there. That has piqued my curiosity. Maybe there'll be some space food baggies on board. My supply is looking a little dodgy. Maybe making this veggie tube will help. Oh, god damn it. Now because I've lost power, my terraformation index is not moving at all, which is not really in my favor. We want to terraform this planet. We gotta keep that moving. There is that spaceship, and I will go to that spaceship soon, actually. I'm very keen for that. I restore my power and I think I'll be alright for a bit. However, this veggie tube is not a food maker thing, despite being called a veggie tube. Nope, this is an oxygen generator. I tossed in that initial seed I started with, and this thing generates a tiny bit of oxygen for me. So our O2 is actually going to start slowly climbing up now as well. Good stuff. I built a lot more drills as well, because I could. Look at that TI climbing up. Now that ship is over there, just underneath that amazing looking planet. Goddamn, the visuals in this game look amazing. Also, quick post-production insert while I'm looking at this view. I started this playthrough on the 12th of May, and that last recording when I reached the end game and it became a grind for the last achievements was on the 20th of May. I picked the game recordings back up in late September, when I actually got that final achievement in the game. And in that time, other projects took precedence, and my baby boy was born early September. Obviously, if you've recently played the game, you'll notice some things are missing because I played before some patches were live. I will cover those at the end as a bonus. Look what I missed out on. I wasn't going to restart the game because with a newborn, I don't have the capacity to do that. Back to the video. And I have a little trick up my sleeve. I don't want to carry oxygen capsules with me to explore ahead. Nope, what I'm going to do is build a small oxygen dump right in front of the ship I want to explore. I complete it with storage for anything I'm going to find inside. With my torch in hand, I explore my first ship on this barren planet. Inside are these things that I need a tier 2 deconstructor to break down. A bunch of furniture just thrown about the place, and chests with some loot, like food and oxygen, seeds and fabrics, and even a blueprint in this one. Some extra food in this one, which is why I came all this way. There are some rare resources like aluminium and super alloy. I do have to run back outside when I need to replenish my oxygen, however. As I deconstruct this debris down, it seems that no one is around. No, I wasn't expecting anyone alive, but I'm not seeing any corpses, which is strange. Did everybody survive and move elsewhere? I deconstruct a tier 2 heater, which gave me a bunch of resources I can use to build my own tier 1 versions back at home. So a couple of nice things, but strangely again, I found no people, dead or alive. Here is a little process I will do quite often, which is running back with all these resources I found here to my base, one load at a time. But these oxygen dumps make this much more efficient. At base, I decode these blueprints I found. You can say we can decode this, so let's decode this. A tier 1 mining speed, which is going to be helpful, and the other one is agility boots. That's going to be very nice. Sounds like it's another meteor shower. So that was a good find. Being able to run quicker in general is a huge bonus. This tier 1 mining speed lets me gather up resources quicker as well, of course. With the deconstruction of that tier 2 heater in that ship, I can make 2 smaller ones back at home. Really good stuff. All these machines are shooting up my TI, and running back and forth gives that TI more time to increase, which in turn unlocks extra blueprints, it seems. So tier 1 drill makes that much pressure. This one makes heat and 1.5 pressure, so that is a lot better than that one. A little bit more expensive, but definitely better. Now I also need to improve my energy supply. While I was looting, I unlocked these solar panels, and they look much nicer than those wind turbines. Power has gone up to 27, which is good stuff. With this upgrade, I delete the old drills and replace them with the newer ones. I don't want too much clutter on this planet. These 6 tier 2 drills will do much better. This is also much better, a new backpack which holds 24 spaces. It makes me run less in the future, like for example finding a random chest out in the wild that has 16 items in it and I can take all of it. That is a lot of resources. That is a lot of resources. That's good stuff. That's very good stuff. I got a few new blueprints, the communications antenna and the transmission screen. I should probably go ahead and make these. It might reveal why I keep getting these blueprints. Well, I made the screen, but without the antenna, it's useless. I rectified this and plopped one on top of my base, and an automated message from Sentinel Core is received. To paraphrase, I am a convict. I've chosen to serve my sentence by coming to this planet and terraforming it. The corporation will keep an eye on my progress and send me blueprints over time. I can only use the resources on this planet to help me on my mission. I can't claim ownership of this planet, and I can't leave until I've terraformed it to a satisfactory level. Do not attempt to contact the corporation, and if their sensors don't pick up any progress, they will assume me missing and the charges will not be dropped. Okay, apparently I've been quite bad. Sounds like good stuff. Absolutely looking forward to this sentence. Also, luckily this planet is teeming with resources scattered all over the place, so I'm not worried in the slightest. I see something though. I do see another wreck all the way up there. Okay, so I will have to investigate. But I make some more veggie tubes to help with this terraformation mission I'm on. I unlock this new screen, the progress screen, and this tells us where we're up to. Alright, so we are currently in the barren stage, and we are about 7.5% towards blue sky. I got a new message, and it looks like some general information about this planet. It's apparently within a pre-civilization sector, passed by trade ships for the most part. That is all very interesting, but I'm more keen on this other shipwreck out here. I arrive at my destination, and I make sure to build my oxygen dump, but just outside this wreck there is also a huge clump of ice that really catches my attention. So this is interesting. Starts melting at 100 NK. That is the heat thing, so at 100 NK of heat, this will start to melt. Good stuff. I guess I'll just have to come back here once this ice is melted, but now it's time for the shipwreck. Much the same as the other one, some good resources in here, but I see no signs of life anywhere or evidence of people. Now as I'm exploring the ship, I was sent here. I didn't crash here as far as I'm aware, meaning that this ship has nothing to do with me. Like, this wasn't my vessel and I used an escape pod, nor that other ship from before. So what's going on here? Why do I keep finding shipwrecks on this planet? Are they trade ships that have gone down perhaps? I ponder this as I make myself a bigger oxygen tank. Deeper inside this ship, I see a screen with a message I can read. I'm going to paraphrase. This is the cargo ship Sorella No. 4, a trading ship, as I suspected. They were passing by this planet when suddenly the ship lost all power and navigational tools. Kind of like the ship had been drained of all its power by some exterior thing. They had to make a crash landing on this planet, which had a huge storm raging at that time. This is logged 3021, 37 years ago. There is also this huge fusion reactor I can interact with, though I can't do anything with it at this time. I'm about to head back with all my loot and I see I've received a new message. The view on my way back here looks amazing. Barren, but amazing. Yes, that is my tiny dropship over there. And about that message, it's from someone called Riley. Apparently an acquaintance of mine. They've been searching for me and passed some advice about surviving as a planet crafter, because apparently the survival rate of these sentences are really quite low. I'm encouraged to find vegetable seeds, which I have but no way to grow them as of yet. Maybe soon. Yep, looks like I've hoarded a small handful of seeds at this point. As I'm doing my back and forth with all the ship resources, I notice my sky now has a little bit of a blue tinge coming through the red. I'm well on my way to blue skies. Also, hey, look at that, we found ourselves we were sent the new blueprint for bigger storage. That's good news. I also find a nice golden chest, and within this chest, a few goodies. Particularly this golden seed that boosts oxygen by 600%. Speaking of chests, I go and upgrade my storage at home to these larger ones. They can store 35 items, as opposed to 15 from the smaller ones, so naturally I replace every single smaller one. During all this time, I was sent the food grower blueprint, so I make sure to toss some beans and squash seeds into these, because I care about a healthy diet. I destroy my few heaters, and I replace them with these chunkier tier 2 heaters for more heat pumped out into this planet. I want that ice to melt, baby. Alright, that KTI is now skyrocketing, which is good news. I make a lot more oxygen generators, because I like to breathe. Oxygen is now at 12.30 ppq. Let's increase this by whatever amount this is going to be. Boom. So that's looking pretty good. 12 point, and now it's gone up to 20.1 ppq. Okay, so that is going up. Yep, that index is going up much faster now, which is good stuff. And as I'm collecting, I see another crash in that direction, but there's also another man-made structure in the opposite direction. My exploration cup overfloweth. Also, this sky is definitely purple now, no longer red. I'm sitting at 55% towards the blue sky right now. I make these tier 3 veggie tubes, and I put a few golden seeds I found in them, because they multiply the oxygen generation capacity of these machines by 600%, and I think this will be a huge step up. It is time for another ship exploration, and I choose this one. Up close, this vessel is quite large, and no matter, an oxygen dump goes down and I do my thing. All these ships have similar internal structures, almost like they've been built by the same manufacturer. But this one features ladders which goes down into a living compartment, complete with dozens of beds, all empty again, so no sign of anyone, or any bodies for that matter. Another golden plant seed for that 600% increase to a machine, same as I found in that golden chest. They are quite nice. There's also another reactor I can interact with here, though I can't do anything with it just yet. Also, there's no communication or anything left in this one. It's just an empty vessel, because I pilfered everything in sight. But I do manage to parkour my way up the side of the ship to get to the very top. But there's nothing special here, just a nice view to admire. The sky is also something to admire on the way back, and look at that KTI shooting up. I think I've reached my milestone, maybe. In fact, it gets better. So we haven't learned how to make things. Oh my god, we're really flying through this, aren't we? We're almost at clouds. Wow. I didn't expect it to be going that quickly. I really didn't expect it to be going that quickly. It may have been those golden seeds reaching maturity and really spouting out that O2 into the atmosphere. Later, after I ran all the materials back from that ship, I'm already into the cloud stage and 30% into rain. Really good stuff indeed. I also have a new message from convict GP-8971-Y, another so-called planet crafter who seems to be somewhat near and on another planet doing the same thing, but sounds like things are going pretty badly for Allmate over there. It seems like they're running low on resources and not really capable of fulfilling their task. It seems like they would have been more thrilled with the death sentence. How many planet crafters are out there, I wonder? Anyways, I ignore this poor sod because I have a tier 2 exoskeleton to make, more space for equipment, and Allmate is a distant memory. I have a look at my blueprint screen to see what's coming to me shortly, a water collector for my hydration problems, so it's best to keep busy until then. I run into the direction of that large ring-looking wreck and make my way past these creepy looking rocks, but I do come across a smaller wreck. I slap down an oxygen dump and I get to it. There's a bunch of chests in the back of this one, and I find quite a lot of aluminium here, which is actually a resource I need for a lot of that higher tier machines. Speaking of which, this area is actually littered with that resource as well. It's a good sign, I guess, that other ship is just gonna have to wait. Especially when I find another golden chest here, with another amazing golden seed that proved so helpful for my terraformation. We are indeed halfway through the KTI stage now. I also got 4 blueprint chips from here, most notably the tier 2 torch. I must have thrown my balanced diet out the window, because I see I'm growing 2 beans at this point. Well, beans are the magical fruit. The more you eat, the more you build a tier 2 crafting station, at which I can upgrade my gear to tier 4, bigger backpack and a bigger oxygen tank. But most importantly, I can get a jetpack. And after I make those things, I have a little bit of a fly around. Have a look at this. Nice. See? Significantly quicker. So actually, yeah, it's about twice as fast now, which is good stuff. So far as I can tell, there's no fuel required as well. But even as I have this jetpack, it gets a bit much flying back and forth, hoarding everything I've taken. I'm thinking about making a permanent home soon while waiting for that tier 5 backpack, which comes at 5 MTI. Maybe I need to upgrade my terraforming machines before I do that. To start that process, I deconstruct my power source, and I replace these 50 odd solar panels with 3 nuclear reactors, which is a step up. I break down my old heaters and I replace them with these big boys. That's gonna be one roasted bean. Oh, that's good stuff. I toss down these funky looking pressure releases just as I unlock the blueprint for a water collector. Speaking of water, 73 available. Hey, we're in the rain section now, so we're going to go to liquid water soon enough then. Beautiful. The last pressure releases are down and things are looking good. Alright, and I also think I'm hearing something outside right now. Indeed, it is raining. It has finally started to rain. That's good stuff. That's very good stuff. As it's raining, I quickly set up more of those golden seeds for some oxygen. KTI is skyrocketing again. Ah, excellent. Now I've sorted my food situation, and indeed I am roasting that bean, which sounds quite tasty. All that's left is making these water collectors and sorting out my water supply, and shortly later I grab my first drink to quench my thirst. I have covered my basic requirements and I'm climbing into the MTI stage. It's time to build my first main base, as later on I'll be building a final third main base. I used this rock back here as a guide, and I will build a platform which I will extend all the way over here, which you'll see why later. I'm planning on building a big base. I do a bit of a fly here, so you can get an idea of the size with this viewpoint. However, getting these single living compartments centered is annoying, because you can't. It really irks me that these things are bigger than the other one. It really does. It really bothers me. However, I'm planning on using these new 2x2 compartments because I hate the singles. You can't make anything nice with that. I utilized these rounded window frames and that looks nice for an entrance. You know what else is nice? We are getting some very nice blue skies though, which is quite lovely. And clouds actually. I do see clouds. Anyways, I do use single compartments to make a bit of a walkway. Ignore the phallic resemblance, I am a man-child. I didn't realize it looks like a penis. God damn it. And not for long, because those 2x2s make nice rooms attached to what is long hallways connecting them. I will have 4 big rooms, and inside I separate these rooms with window walls so you can see through everything. I want to be able to admire the ever-changing planet I'm terraforming. Speaking of which, I'm at 2.5 MTI now. I set up my crafters in this first room. I'm collecting more iron for storage boxes, and I can see a chest off in the distance that I can pick up. I think it's time for a little break. I mean, I have been building 88% into the liquid water stage, so I give my legs a bit of a stretch by flying around. I find this rocky formation area that is shrouded by a red haze. There is, however, a wreck I can investigate over here, but it does seem to be a smaller wreck. Can I? Oh, can I? Nice! That is worth a lot of resources, actually. I think I have found a nice little place to pilfer. And pilfer it I did. Afterwards, I saw where this section links up to. This place is still very red, can barely see in front of you. But okay, I know where that is. We've been over there before, so... Indeed, it looks like it's another way to get home past the previous aluminium wreck. However, I take the path I came here because I want you to get this picture in your head. Back at base, I decide that this corner needs to become my storage depot. I start lining up all these storage lockers, and welcome the fact that we have just entered the liquid water stage, and lamented the fact that the next stage, lakes, is going to take forever. You know what's splendid though? There we go. This entire room is getting absolutely chockers with storage. Oh, it's gonna be good, mate. Oh, it's gonna be fucking splendid. So eventually you get the idea. The entire room is surrounded with rows of storage, and in between as well. I start to label each one with said items destined to be in them. I think I crammed about 38 storage crates in here. In other sections, I also dedicate some storage to seats and such, because I have plans for all 4 corners of this base. Like for example, on the opposite corner, I start setting up my study area. I rebuild my screens and I see I'm only 3% into lakes, and then I place all the smaller screens on another desk. Now speaking of lakes, I was having a bit of a flyby, and I see something. What do we see here? What do we see here? Oh, would you look at that? I'm starting to see water in here. Indeed, I'm starting to see water build up on this barren world, which is a glorious addition. What else is glorious is this extra space on my base needed for this biodome section. There we go. Computer's on the right side, and it is completely on the thing, which is good news. Yep, it is completely on the thing. Okay, excellent. We have our first biotank thing, which is very good news. And here we can see we're gonna get this at 865 grams of biomass. So yeah, this is the whole other section of things that we can do. Indeed, this room shows me a whole bunch of biomass stuff that I will unlock. For now, a short distance from my home base, and there's this big cave here. It must be warmer in here, because I find a lot of iridium strewn across the ground. Speaking of warmth, I see a partially melted ice cluster here, and I can go through the opening. I'm welcomed by a yellow hazy type area, and among this yellow fog I find sulfur, which is an important resource for me. For now, I use it to make myself a better torch, which is quite delightful. Also, a bigger backpack is a thing now. I have an idea for this lukewarm cave over here, and it's to set up a little heating hub. Afterwards, I gathered up an iridium storm, and I scoped out the exact opposite of my current location, which is an ice world over there. Now I want to move my heaters into that lukewarm cave, but I also need to think about relocating this ice hole in the near future as well. But the pressure things might be at home over here, I think to myself, but not these heaters, so I deconstruct them. I love that you get all resources back when you do this, so in this game you never really lose resources. Because with those exact resources I just grabbed back, I reconstruct them over in this cave. That is one eyesore done and dusted. I'm gathering more stuff later, and I see that this ice that once blocked my path here may indeed be melted away now. Upon closer inspection, I see a new resource called osmium. However, this cave is not melted all the way through. There's still some ice here, but I'm also seeing sulfur down here, giving an indication where this cave might lead to. Looks like this place is starting to fill up quite nicely with water. My own little pod, my old pod, is almost submerged. Well, it's not almost, but it is starting to really be involved in the water. I built a platform quite close to my pressure releases, and I set up a permanent energy hub over here. It's still kind of a bit of an eyesore, but it's well out of the way now. A little later, I was trying to see where I use osmium, and I found my answer. Yes, I use it for this. I might go ahead and actually make some ore extractors, to be honest. Indeed, get some automation going on, but let's not get ahead of myself. First things first, I have things to move. My oxygen generators have been relocated at my new home now. A little rain is thrown my way as well, which brings joy to the occasion. I had other veggie tubes as well, so I placed them in this biolab place because having some plants in here both look nice but also make sense. This place is going to bubble at night. The time has finally come. There we go. And it is completely done now. Fantastic. What's nice about these veggie tubes is that they can simply act as a decorative option, but they are in fact generating O2 for me. Speaking of oxygen thing, we've got our heaters over there, we've got our pressure things over there, and we got all our power stuff there. And we have our oxygen tanks over here and water here. And of course a rising lake over there, so it's starting to look pretty good. I am perplexed though, what comes next? Ore extractors or this launch platform? I'm gonna have to have a little think about that. And these guys take up 34 energy, do they? Well, that's a different situation, isn't it? 34, yeah, we're good. We are definitely good. So no worries, I tossed two of these bad boys down outside. I open up their collection chests, and we can see that iron is highlighted, so it seems like these guys will get me that, but I'm gonna have to come back later to check up on that. While I wait, I want to stretch my legs again, so I gather up my usual adventuring gear. But before I head out, what's my progress at? Where's our stats at? So at the moment we are 8% into legs. It's going quite slowly, but that's perfectly fine. I could increase the stuff if I really wanted to, but I also want to enjoy the game, and we are running low on some of those hard-hitting things. We got some ore extractors here, so this is going to be a big dump of ore extractors right here. I'm looking forward to it. I started to make my way to the suspicious collection of giant canyons. I chose correctly because I was rewarded with a small chest right away. I circumvent this area because from this small clip, you can see a narrow entrance into this place, giving an indication of a possible maze coming up. But I have played before, I know a little something which is at the top. There is a huge opening, so I can easily get to where I want, which is that crashed ship in the center here. I call this place Super Alloy Alley, because that resource is scattered all over the place. Anyways, to work, I throw down my oxygen dump and I explore this small ship. From the looks of things, this once sustained quite a bit of damage, but there is a little bit of stuff to gather here, some blueprints as well, which is quite appreciated. I also find a first here. Not. Okay. Ooh, oxygen multiplier fuse. Insert this fuse into an optimizer to boost the performance of nearby machines. Oxygen. We've got plenty of those guys, so we are definitely ready for when that becomes a thing, sorry. Oh, I'm very keen for that. I am so keen for that. After I pilfered this ship, I beamwalk across here because there's plenty of alloy all over the place. But I get a thought first. This place has a lot of super alloy, so I want to make the home beacon. I quickly run home and I unlock a few of those blueprints, like map information rockets, new agility boots and the tier 2 jetpack, and I make the jetpack straight away of course. Now before I left, I said I wasn't worried about my terraforming, but when I look at the next tier terraforming machine unlocks, I can see that they are in fact quite a ways away, which makes me reconsider my thoughts. I investigate these ore extractors and I can see that it brings up a whole bunch of these basic types of resources, not just iron, which is good news. I make storage crates close by here so I can move these resources here and these machines can keep chugging along. Now back to what I was doing when I came back home. I placed down a beacon here and I named it home. Obviously, I fly back to where I was and you can actually see the home beacon icon in the distance, and I place another one here called Super Alloy Alley. Now I'm free to wander into this maze looking for that resource, knowing that if I look into 2 directions, I have beacons giving me an idea of where I am at all times. I also find lots of aluminium here, and on top of the mazes, I find lots of super alloy, really good stuff indeed. Now as I am gathering up a storm, I'm thinking about my terraformation again, and the fact that I need to still make that launch platform, and maybe sending up rockets might be the answer to my problem. As I'm flying all these goodies back home, my current TI is about 8.4 MTI, and by the time I'm done and grabbing myself a snack, it's just under 9 MTI. It may not be as bad as I think, but I do need to speed this up. My biomass is currently 0, but I do have nothing working towards that yet, so that's fair. I'm currently 13% into lakes, so that's only a 5% increase from that little while back. I also see here that the next heater unlock is linked to my oxygen levels, which is ppb, which stands for parts per billion. I had to look it up. But more importantly to me is that that number is barely moving. The next biodome is at 12 UK of heat, which is also not moving. My next drill is also connected to heat, and that needs 4100 UK, or whatever that means. The point here is that after all those extra things I built before, it's not helping. So this launch pad is my next thing. It is quite chunky, and I plop it down outside between my power and pressure area and my home base. It does make me exceed my power limit, again, which is quickly rectified with 2 extra nuclear power generators. The view on top of this platform is quite nice. And the view up here is actually really nice. Flying up here, base is down there, that's looking mighty fine. But down to business. I can send rockets up to multiply my heat and pressure multipliers by a whopping 1000 each, which is quite glorious. The heat one is kind of easy to make, and it attracts asteroids that will have uranium in them. The pressure one is the same, except it'll attract iridium asteroids to the planet. Both of these rockets obviously need rocket engines. There's a few other rockets for satellite and map information, but I'm not interested in that. I am interested in making those aforementioned rockets. They take 1 iridium rod, which is 9 iridium crushed together, 2 uranium ones and 1 super alloy. At this point that's a little bit expensive, and as you can see here I have enough for probably 2? I have a lot of iridium, but 9 a pop will eat up my stock quickly. I decide the heat multiplier one first, as that will bring down more uranium from the sky for me. I launch my first rocket into the sky, and it's a moment to enjoy, sending your first rocket up into the atmosphere. While my eyes are glued to the air, I see meteors coming down, so I take refuge and I take note as best I can to see where these summoned rocks will land. Before I head out, I think I see a slight improvement in the speed of my progress. So I fly over to the impact locations, and I do see some uranium ore for my efforts. The only thing is I have to sometimes wait for the rock debris to bugger off so I can get my hard-earned prize. Here's an example of one I couldn't get. Also, if I don't keep track of their initial impacts, I lose them. Oh well, I got enough for another rocket at least. In fact, I sent up a few more rockets, 2 more uranium and 2 more iridium ones. This is a good way to build up my stocks of those resources and boost the TI of the planet. And as I do this, my old pod is nearly submerged at this point. Now I know I'll be needing veggies in the future, not just for eating, but also for other stuff which we will see soon. So I make sure to make several extra food growers. I also pick up my iridium ores now that the debris have moved on, and I also gather up a bunch of veggie seeds that I want to grow. I have eggplants, squash and a few mushroom seeds at my disposal, and I do make sure to plant them all. I got my first biomass generator, although it looks like it's mostly oxygen, but this grass spreader does generate a little bit of plant life for me. I am also deafened by the sound of heavy rain. That is some really heavy rain, actually. This is starting to look really good. Once the downpour has ceased, I placed down several of these grass starters around my home. I really want to see some green when I look out my windows. And success, I can finally see I have 50 grams of plant life on this planet now. But I'm gonna need tons if I want a beehive. Baby steps. But little steps for the biolab, which is unlocked at only 865 grams, so I'm really keen on that. Now after those rockets and grass starters, I can see the progress thing is actually moving now, which is excellent stuff. In preparation for that lab, I expand my platform on one side. Check out this view. Look at that difference. Little patches of grass over there. See? I want the spinning microchip. It allows me to pin a machine's resource requirements instead of checking my inventory several times over. To showcase this, I'll pin this one on the top of my screen now. My veggies are also coming along nicely. This biomass is coming along nicely as well. So while I wait, I think I'll go explore. What am I going to explore? This Iceland place, and of course there are in fact lots of giant chunks of ice here. But I do see small bodies of water, so this place will likely look very different when it's all melted. So down goes my oxygen dump, and I shall name this place Iceland. A lot of rocky terrain here, but I do see the odd chest here and there. And while I'm pilfering, I see I get the biolab unlocked, which is good news. I also have a feeling that this entire place will be covered in water because, how the hell does that work? Oh, that's funny. As I'm filling up my chests, my exploration ambitions quickly wane as I want to go back and get into the terraforming aspect again. As you can see, those chests are filling up quite nicely. However, I keep at it, and it's a good thing because in this chest I find some bioplastic, which is a manufactured resource that comes out of the biolab. I got one early, I guess. In fact, I got two, and they're used to make the algae generators. They generate oxygen, but they also grow algae for me. Now I know I said 2, but apparently I had 3 bioplastics floating around, so I make 3 of these bad boys. It does help my progress. That climb is definitely quicker at this point. Our biomass. There is currently a total of 3.74 kilograms of biomass on this planet. Oh, that is funny. Goodness gracious me. Alright. Well, technically, there should be a little less when I harvest this algae growing, but hey, it is what it is. That osmium cave has melted all the way through now. Actually, wait, maybe not. There is another passage that way that's still blocked. But this other passage leads me to the sulfur fields. It is connected indeed. Also, make sure not to have your deconstruction option selected when using stairs. Oh, don't! Imagine if I was just about to run out of oxygen then. Oh, that would be the funniest and the saddest thing ever. Anyways, I construct the biolab on one side of my base. It does look pretty schmick as I'm walking around in here. Now I can make lots of goodies at the biolab. Oh yeah. Look at that. Well, the first thing I make in the lab is something explosive. Well done. Alright, so we need these things, do we? Well, explosive power is needed to make the second tier nuclear reactor, which I needed because the biolab exceeded my power supply. This happens often, I'm gonna stop mentioning it. Now I have to pause this frame here because past me is incapable of holding still. Now in this lab I can make this explosive powder, as you saw. On the left there is bacteria samples, those bio nuggets, 2 tiers of fertilizers, and I believe that's mutagen on the right there. And all those things take organic materials, such as those vegetables I mentioned before and algae, that sort of stuff. So I make some bio nuggets to expand my algae generators. I also need lots of veggies, so I expand my farming section as well. By the way, I have literally doubled my biomass. I now have 7 kilograms of it on this planet. Big numbers here. These flower spreaders have some decent numbers I can utilize. It takes fertilizer, which is made up of using sulfur, eggplants, and algae. I have all this, and soon enough I have a flower starter outside next to my grass starter. I also make an extra 5 oxygen producers because I'm able to throw some plants into these guys. Just trying to improve that TI is what I'm doing. Making this tier 2 biodome will help as well actually. But as I think about that, I see I'm very close to entering the lake stage. Really exciting stuff here. Run. We're almost at the end of lakes, and yeah, actually speaking of which, this lake has really come up quite a bit, hasn't it? Yeah, this lake has come up heaps. While I'm waiting, I decide to do more exploring, so I grab what I need. My destination is that giant circle I saw in the distance. As I approach it, it is indeed a giant space shuttle type thing. Water has even started forming around the base of it, so I have a quick dip to cool off, and I do see to the left that Iceland is up there and that a massive ravine leads in that direction. Maybe this entire thing will fill up with water as well. But for now, an oxygen dump is set up and I explore the ship that is half buried in the sand. I do call it the circle ship of course, and like all other ships, this place is deserted with lots of resources in chests. Again, I see no bodies of people anywhere. I do see a body of water that has submerged the deeper parts of this vessel. Speaking of water, I unlock the lake water collector at the same time. It is quite off-putting having to explore with minimal light and underwater, but I will persevere. I do spy another message I can read. I'll paraphrase. This vessel was originally a warp gate that obviously took a long time to build. It was the inauguration of this vessel, and it was supposed to serve as a gateway to cross the Isisua Prime sector. But as soon as the main power reactor was turned on, everything went south. As power failed, everything else broke quickly, especially stabilizers, so this vessel was drawn to the closest planet as a result. They tried everything to fix it, but to no avail, obviously. The whole crew escaped on their escape pods, and a distress signal was sent. Maybe some of those other ships on this planet are from this one. Whoever wrote this finished by reaffirming that this accident shouldn't have happened. This occurred in 3034. 24 years ago. While I ponder that, I quickly get distracted because I find a pressure multiplier in this chest. Really good stuff. I also see another reactor here. I still can't do anything with it, so I'm just gonna leave it for now. I do see an exit at the bottom of the ship that leads to a cavernous submerged area, but it only leads to an extra hidden chest at the end of this tunnel. Now at this point I also make a decision to only take back what I really want from these excursions. Like anything important and everything that's basic, like basic building materials, I will leave, otherwise it gets very tedious to fly back and forth. Do you remember how I said I missed out on a few patches because I played this in May? Oh yeah, a certain vehicle would have made this so much more doable, but there you have it. I make 2 trips instead of 5, and while I do, I see I got the tier 2 algae generator. I can see that it's much better than the first one, and I imagine it will grow more algae as well. I grab some of that mentioned resource and some veggies, make some fertilizers, and I want to make this tier 2 biodome. It takes my O2 up by 1450. This is my oxygen before. I slap down this big boy biodome, admire these few trees in here, and after I restored my power, this is where my oxygen is sitting at now. I've nearly doubled the ppb per second. Also, I can't believe I missed looking at this twice, but you got a glimpse there. I'm in the moss stage now. I make this lake collector and it's a much better option than those rain catchers. It can collect twice as much water in these. So now this has been a good one. We explored, we went to the other side and we got a bunch of stuff. We are in lakes now and we're working towards the moss stage. Good to know, good to know. But overall my TI is still stagnant. A new message distracts me. It's from Riley again and it's heavily encrypted, but I can make it out. Build ore extractors in different locations for specific resources. Rockets are really important as they will help boost something, which I can guess is that stagnant terraformation I mentioned just before. I help this problem another way and I get my science on. I accumulate the materials I need to make these tier 2 algae generators, so I toss it down in my own personal lake like the other ones. Back to this tier 2 biodome that has trees growing in it. These generate tree bark for me, which I'll use later. For now, I make myself a compass chip. Not that I really need this, but you can see a little compass icon at the top, so it's something. I also upgrade other chips I can, like my mining one, so I can collect resources just that little bit quicker. I have another look at these map satellite rockets that I can send up and I come to the same conclusion and I pass on them. I won't pass on these optimizers, which I'll be unlocking very shortly. So I'm gonna go explore while I wait. I'm in the circle ship general area and there's a lot of unexplored terrain here, and almost immediately I see a satellite crashed in this chasm down here. But that's all it seems. Nothing special about what was probably an expensive piece of equipment. But another chasm close by has a cave entrance, which is blocked by ice, and this one won't start melting for quite a while it seems. But for now, I do find a man-made ladder in this chasm. I make my oxygen dump and I go right in. It is dark here, so a flashlight is obvious. At first glance, there's a lot of machines in here that I have. In fact, they are the same type of machines that I can make. A very nice storage chest with lots of seeds and rarer resources. But another message here, and I'll paraphrase. Whoever built this place has been here for 6 months since their crash, and they are barely surviving. Their main goal was to build a rocket and escape this planet which they claim is cursed. They mentioned that their original crash site, they kind of remember a secret room in the control bay hidden behind a deconstructible wall, somewhere near the main screens. I wonder what crash they are referring to. This is signed by Ichthys and the year was 3038. 20 years ago. Interesting, so someone else actually built a shelter here. Also, not a planet crafter like me it seems. On the way home, I see a random chest, and beyond this lucky find, another hidden cave that has a green sparkle, looking like a uranium cave it seems. I get distracted by the optimizer that I have finally unlocked, but I try to avoid this temptation and I gather some uranium while I'm here. But a chest in here has another oxygen multiplier fuse, which really tempts me. Now, as I was doing my back and forth laps, I wanted to see if this area over here was still very hazy like before. And at first glance, yes, this red haze has not lifted from this area. But I am glad I came here regardless, because I spy a golden chest that was hiding here, and it has some nice plants in it for me, like the 600% golden seed. Following my nose, I do spy another cave with a red sparkle. It's another uranium cave, so it seems, because going in deeper, the sparkle turns blue and I find more osmium and sulfur in here. There is chunks of ice, so it looks like this one was one of those melting passageways. I do find the exit shortly later and it leads me to a whole new area. Coming over this hill, I see a silver type area, and it looks barren as far as I can see. I don't see this now, but there is a pink sparkle over there. So I have this new area, but I'm going to finish off some stuff at home first. As I fly home, do you remember this path I asked you to remember a little while ago? Yeah, I can see some of them more slowly. Ooh, I think I can see green on the hills there actually. Indeed, it looks completely different. Now, I wanted to avoid that new area because I wanted to make these optimizers, so I cited the materials I needed to make one of these happen. I checked my oxygen levels because I'm about to optimize this output. I slap this optimizer outside and I toss in this oxygen fuse, which benefits 5 machines around it. I have a look at my oxygen levels and they went up by about 300 ppb, which at first felt a little underwhelming for me. In fact, I was a little bit disappointed. However, I fixed this shortly. I slap another one here with my pressure releases. I didn't look at this one closely enough to realize, but the NPA per second went up by almost 3 times, which is significant. Here's the before and after. I have 2 more O2 fuses and I want something significant from these because once the oxygen gets up there, I can unlock this new heater and I really want this. I have a light bulb moment. It's like 26 or something. Honestly, it'll probably work better on this guy. I have a sneaking suspicion that that oxygen thing will work better there. So oxygen is at 4093 ppq. I follow my hunch, replace the location of these 2 things, and yeah, no, that is done much better. Look at that. Just that one thing. Okay, well, there you go. Pay attention to those numbers, and you'll actually make a significant difference. So I was about to go somewhere new, and I see something. Hey, would you look at that? I can see water over there. Indeed, water is becoming abundant on this planet. Actually, you know what? I am incredibly silly right now. I am incredibly stupid. I don't know why I was saying this, but I start to take down these veggie tubes, and I make them over here with the optimizer. Oh, okay, makes sense. It's a modest growth, but you know, every point helps, I guess. I am out and I see another ladder that leads me into the ground. This is a tiny place, but it does feature a bed, so someone definitely stayed here long term. I'll paraphrase this message. It is from Ichthys again, but 21 years ago. This is in fact his first message, I believe. Their ship crashed for an unknown reason. Many of them died on impact and some died on the surface of this planet. Icarus is in fact the sole survivor. His health is deteriorating and he needs to find water. Well, seeing as I saw he had a more permanent structure somewhere else, looks like he did alright for at least 6 months. So Icarus crashed on this planet in the year 3037. I take this all in as I pilfer his belongings, and I get the tier 3 jetpack, which is quite welcome. It is time to go into overdrive with my TI. I collect the algae that has grown here on the T1 generators, and I replace them closer to solid ground for future optimizer radius. I was on my way to collect sulfur, but I placed down even more heaters in my heating place, because why not? And when I arrived back home, I got a new plant rocket which I could possibly use. I unleash my evil scientist, and I make lots of explosives, which I use to make another optimizer for these algae generators I moved closer to shore. I would like to go crazy with this, but resources are limited, but I toss a flower grower close by as well to maximize my efforts. And that's as much as I can do right now. I guess I have to wait for the next heater. So under the cover of darkness, I make my way to this new area I discovered, and before I slap down my temporary base here, I now see that pink glow in the distance. I call this place Shiny Entrance, and I harvest that pink resource, which turned out to be called Pulsar Quartz. No idea what I use this for yet, but there is a little bit of it around. The reason this place is so shiny is because of this zeolite, the first time I come across this resource as well. I gather up a storm in this area. Any chests are also pilfered as well, of course, but I come across something really out of place. Oh, this is interesting. There's already shit growing here. Look at this! It's a giant... Oh, I fell through it. It's giant mushrooms. Indeed, these look like organic things. I don't recall reaching any kind of fungus stage yet. Is this classified as simple moss? I plop down another oxygen dump. Really, you do this a lot. It's like skipping stones. Each one of them is a safe zone for you to breathe. But I call this one mushrooms ? Hey, look at that. We got the new drill. That is good news. That is very good news. Good news, but that's going to have to wait. This is more interesting. I fly down and it kind of reminds me of that cave from Evolution, that film from the early 2000s, but this grabs my attention. Seeing something here in the distance. This is a bridge. Indeed, I see a wooden bridge here, which then turns out to be an aqueduct type thing, and then something about this solid wall really catches my eye. I investigate. This looks like a door, and there is an altar here, a warden's altar to be specific, which I can interact with and put something inside. This looks very peculiar on a supposedly dead planet. I can make my oxygen dump here, which is a good idea. I need to investigate this. I scout around, maybe there's something in here I need to locate. I search through this purple haze, and in the center of this cave, I find this, another altar with a warden key, but also engravings on the altar itself that seems to indicate a location. They are in fact coordinates, and they lead me right back to where I found what looked like a door. You can see my coordinate location at the bottom left. I insert this key and... So this is the key for this coordinates. Whatever this is, I don't get the same vibe as I do with the multitude of wrecks out there. This is something else. Riveting stuff. I cautiously make my way into this doorway, and it reveals a passageway with well-made stone door arches and brick pillars. It leads me into a room with a multitude of pillars and what seems like something on each side. They are messages, and I won't paraphrase them. I'll let myself read them in the order I found them. After all those years, all the suffering, we decided to leave our home soil, to go as far away as possible to build a new home, far from the terror, far from the strife, and far from them. To stay hidden and live our lives as we had for centuries. We carefully chose somewhere where we could be safe, gathered the last of our kind in our biggest vessel, and on a fateful night we left, fleeing their never-ending insatiability more than themselves. A warden. Year something. Okay. So these guys were fleeing from something? We were struck by the resemblance at first. We were almost exactly the same. Our scientists told us it was because our celestial bodies were identical in every way, so our evolution, while independent, was very similar. It was like meeting a cousin you never knew you had. They even called us brothers. When they started to land on Treha, a few spaceships turned into dozens, and slowly our worries grew. Our main differences were hidden deep inside biologically. We were identical, but our minds had been shaped differently. By fate or by nature, the fact is that when we realized it was already too late. So the others came to them. They were pretty much the same, but these guys found that they were not the same and they wanted to leave. I got 2 more rooms here. I go to the left chamber. Hey, new coordinates. 964, 68, 1744. Let me just quickly write that down somewhere. Oh goodness me. I also grabbed this key. This last room is something to behold. I find a giant vessel, likely the one the wardens, the ones that these messages are signed by, used to escape and come here it seems. As I dash for some oxygen, I can only ascertain that the wardens are aliens or something and the humans are the them in this message, and they were trying to escape us. That's the idea I'm getting. I explore the rest of this mushroom area and I see another passage I could venture into, and I find obsidian in this passage, and where there is obsidian I'm going to find lava. I must be in the hottest part of the planet now. Following it just leads me out into these volcanic lands. Jesus, that's smoke, man. And some final thoughts as I head back. I'm just very curious as there's stuff growing on this planet, but I've only reached the moss stage. So either my progress scanner thing is not picking up this organic matter, or is this not organic matter that's natural to humans? Mysterious indeed. Also, here's something pleasing. Hey, look at that. Oh, look at that. Starting to get really green now. I also expand my storage depot for these new resources, of course, and in regards to my own progress, I'm only at 50% legs and not even at the moss stage yet. So yeah, there's something funky going on in that cave. Here is some big news though. Oh my god. They're huge. Oh my god, they're massive. That is an insane buff from 17 to 440. Oh wow, holy god. Okay, well, guess I have to make this when I can, but for now I have a huge harvest of veggies I can help myself to. Oh yeah, that is the sound of harvesting crops in space. I'm out again and I'm forced to take shelter in a close by broken home, which isn't mine. Oxygen doesn't work in here, so I quickly make my own functional one close by. I wait for this meteor shower to pass and I decide to investigate this place. For this amount of super alloy, I think it's a good choice. Hey, it's another dropship. So somebody else landed right here. Oh, piss off, you send that person down with these resources? I find that to be a little bit unfair. 3055. What was my year? Yet your year was 3058. This was only 3 years ago. I wonder if there's anyone else on this planet trying to terraform. Not just you, mate. But this human also had the idea to go into the ground. And I have a name for this person now, it was Xiaodan. And from this message, Old Mate was actually quite optimistic about his terraformation task for this planet. But as I follow the passages and read more of his messages, I can see his optimism is stolen away from him. He feels the planet will be better for terraforming in 2 years. So for me, unfortunately for him, it's a year since this last message and he's complaining about the lack of iridium in 3056 for heating this planet. Old Mate is starting to get really frustrated at this point. The final rooms of his home reveal his fate when I come across the initial message all planet crafters get, but not just one. To your assigned planet? Oh wow. Oh yeah, I think Old Mate went insane. Yeah, he went insane. Oh wow, that's rough. Except here's his final message, which pretty much is a giant middle finger to Sentinel Corps, accusing them of knowing this task is impossible. All they care about is profit and colonization. A pardon was never really part of the plan. Rest in peace, Mr. Xiaodan. Hopefully I do better than you. Well, that question is answered shortly. Oh my god! That's amazing! Yes, I'll help myself to that. Not just a healthy amount of grave robbing. The thing is, I'm not seeing any bodies. Like, I'm seeing 0 bodies. And that is actually a little bit of a concern of mine. Such thoughts are quickly lost when I have backpacks full of goodies like this to take home. How would I describe this place? Beautiful. What else is beautiful is this tier 4 drill I want to make. They are really chunky. A moment later, and one of those blueprints I brought back is the tier 2 deconstructor. So those odd computer things I couldn't deconstruct in the ships before, I will be able to do that now with this thing. Once I harvest some methane gas, which is a gas extractor, which in turn gets unlocked at a milestone of pressure. So yep, continue making these tier 4 drills and properly utilizing these pressure multipliers on these big fellas. As I'm flying back for more resources, I can see my MTI is motoring now. And a little while later, I have entered the moss stage and plowing into the flora stage. I actually didn't make it back to my exploring because I unlocked the gas extractor a few minutes later while I was organizing my chests. I make one and I lose power again, naturally, and a short while later I have my first cartridge of methane gas. Tier 2 deconstructor is now a thing. A stone's throw away from Mr. Xiaodan's demise, there is an entrance to the lava area. I saw it coming at it through the mushroom cave area, but from this point of view, there is a giant spacecraft that I see that needs to be pilfered. It is a mighty fine looking vessel. The flying time between all these locations can be a few minutes, so it's really important to make these oxygen dumps. I always name them as well, so I always have an idea of where I am when I look at distant beacons. Before exploring inside, I scour the outside and I find lots of obsidian here, and because my game has progressed a bit, the loot I find in these random chests is also better, like all these fertilizers for example. I do see another ladder leading underground. What's interesting about this place is that it also belonged to Xiaodan. It's dated 3055, so 1 year before his untimely demise. Apparently this place was warmer than his previous home. He had run out of food, he missed his family, and he dreaded having to move on because it was cold and dark out there. I wonder how many locations this fella actually had. Also, nice, I can finally deconstruct these for circuit boards. Good stuff, good stuff. I come across my first heat multiplier fuse, which I'm really keen on because I'll be unlocking the tier 4 heaters soon. While I wait for that tech unlock, I explore this big ship. I really make use of this tier 2 deconstructor now. Nothing remotely usable is left behind. This ship featured 2 levels and a few ways to go up and down, so it took me a little while to get my bearings in here. There's another fusion reactor in the ship, but again, I don't see any bodies. I do see places where said bodies would have slept, but all empty now. I also find my first tree seed, which is really exciting, but not as exciting as another heat multiplier fuse. And later, while I'm at home, I unlock this heater I've been really waiting for. So this one generates 28 heat, this generates 538 heat. Oh my god, and I got a whole bunch of those fuses. We're about to absolutely skyrocket, I reckon. For reference, I'm currently 60% into the moss stage. Have a look at my MTI accumulation as I'm gathering my harvest. Not bad at all. These heaters are also big boys and they have to be on a platform or something. They can't just sit on the ground. I toss it on top of the heater building in the Iridium cave, and just as I do that, I get the tier 2 ore extractor, which is significantly better than the first one. If you can remember, these tier 1 ore extractors are over here, just getting me a mix of all the basic resources. Fun fact, I forget about the tier 2 ore extractor, and remember again when I unlock the tier 3. I collect some gases extracted by these gassy boys, I collect some water from these watery boys, and I try my best to reorganize my stuff as I'm getting quite a bit of it, and I let it get out of hand, so I'm suffering some growing pains, so to speak. I get myself excited because once I have these chunky heater boys, I can work towards nuclear fusion reactors, which will be a much better power supply. So I prepare by setting up a 3x3 platform in this cave, get distracted by a random growing vine that has a chunk of zeolite growing out of it, which is quite pleasing actually, but not as pleasing as putting an optimizer here with a heat fuse. Look at that MTI blow up. Let's check out that MTI now, because we're about to make 3 new ones. Yep, that's taking it even further. Skyrocketing it. Boom. Look at that. Any ice that's still existing in this world will now have absolutely no chance. Now, because these optimizers work on 5 machines, I quickly make another heater to be as efficient as I can. DNA manipulator. Interesting. Yeah, that one is a bit tricky, we'll get to that later, but for now we are in the flora stage and slowly moving into the trees. I wonder how long it will take for me to have a breathable atmosphere. I wanted to have this nuclear fusion generator, but even with these 5 optimized heaters, it will still take some time. I might have to go do some more exploring, but maybe after I place down some extra big boy drills, all being optimized by another machine of course. I received a message from Riley at some point. Apparently she did a scan of my planet. I've no idea where she is in all this, but she says there's something off. That there is a strange geological signature and incoherent topographical data near my location. She provides me with coordinates, which makes me remember those other coordinates I got from that warden place at the mushroom cave, and I decide to pick that up again. I'm glad I remembered where I kept that other key from the first place, and I start to fly looking at the coordinates I wrote down. I follow this cliff face and I do find an entrance over here. This place becomes known to me as Super Alloy Cave, as that resource is littered on the ground here, but further in this cave and I find another altar. And it does accept 1 warden key, which I relinquish and watch another door open. I'm walking down a flight of ancient stairs and it looks like I can make myself an oxygen dump a little way down, so I make sure to do that. I find another similar ancient ruin down below. There were definitely other beings on this planet ages ago, that's for sure. Does this mean the planet died since then? Anyways, I find another key in this place, and a passage that leads up to what looks like a city in the mountain. Another warden key. No coordinates just yet, just keys thus far. I wonder how old these are. Wood is something that doesn't last very long. This looks like it's wood, which gives me the impression that it's not that old. I might actually make some research here to see how long wooden structures last, because yeah, these are definitely wood. These are brick or some kind of mortar or whatever. I find my first message here, which I'll let myself read. Orbital drainage defense device observation. Orbital drainage defense device. The device is working as intended, and our tests are conclusive. And the ones that calling themselves, if the ones calling themselves humans ever approach this planet, it'll drain their ships of energy and prevent them from communicating. I see. So these guys brought down all the previous ships. Our presumptions is that the device will effectively reduce the efforts to approach this part of the infinitude, leading them to spread elsewhere if they continue to do so. Our calculations are conclusive. This will give us at least a few hundred years of quietude. A warden. Okay, so these people, or these beings, did not like the humans. So it was humans meeting these guys. And in classic style, these guys didn't like the humans because of, the standard humans are greedy sort of thing. And then they tried to escape the humans, and they've made... Oh, there we go, there's something there. Can I quickly write this down? Give me a second. Yeah, that is all very interesting. Also, I have an oh no moment. Oh no. No. Hold your breath. Hold your breath. Yes. Oh. Okay, that was close. That was very close. Now, as I run back inside, I think to myself, some of those other ships with the logs I've read, they've mentioned their ships have crashed because something drained their energy, so this is making sense. But I didn't crash so far as I'm aware. I was sent here, so is this drainage thing still active or disconnected since the few decades since those other ships have crashed? But then again, the message blaring at me when I landed was imminent impact, so maybe I was sent here and lost power while entering the atmosphere. As I pondered this further, I came across something. This might be the device. Like a moth to the flame, I stand under it, but it's a giant floating orb, is as much as my monkey brain can understand. Yes, very pretty. Well, I have new coordinates and a few new warden keys. As I fly home, I noticed flora growing in the desert area, and there are even small lakes here as well, which is really looking good. You spend a lot of time flying back and forth carrying resources, so you do notice things. That vine wasn't there before. Indeed, it wasn't. I have to check that out later. And I start to think about Riley's coordinates that she gave me, and I did a little bit of thinking. The next coordinates we want to get to is -245. That's in that direction, yeah? Yeah, -248. 42, 93. Wait, is that going to be the mushroom place? I swear to God, if that is the mushroom place, I'm going to be very upset. Oh, that'll be so funny. I think it is. I reckon the coordinates that Riley has sent me is actually what I've already done. We will see that very shortly, actually. Before confirming my suspicions, check out what my old pod looks like now. Hey, look at that. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. I think it's the entrance of the mushrooms, to be honest. Because at the moment my coordinates are -248-ish. It's 31, which is close to 42, and 93, yeah. So she sends you to the mushroom cave. Well, it looks like it is part of the storyline, and I discovered it before I was supposed to. Really good stuff. Also, yeah, so Riley just sends you to the mushrooms, and I got here just before she did that. Yes! Let's go make ourselves a nuclear fusion reactor. I'm liking how this has happened. Look at this. Oh, wow! Nice. How far away are we from, like, fish and stuff? Because isn't this what fish like? Are any of these things alive? Because coral is generally alive, isn't it? Like the Great Barrier Reef is one of the largest living organisms because a reef is, you know, crustaceans or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. For reference, in this short time, I'm almost at my second GTI now, and we're almost entering the tree stage, really moving along right now. I see I can make a tier 3 exoskeleton, but this catches my eyes, the air filter, so breathable oxygen isn't that far off for me. Oh, the teleporter would be so bloody useful. Yep, I'm really keen on that. I'm also keen on this nuclear fusion reactor. Expensive, but look at that power increase. 1485. Oh my god! It is almost 5 times better than the nuclear reactors. Pulsar quartz and super alloy, and I can only make one at this time. It is so small compared to the other ones, it's kinda cute. I reached 2 GTI and I make that air filter. It says it reduces the oxygen consumption depending on the level of terraformation. So I chuck it on, and down below you can see my oxygen is depleting at 1.9 seconds less. Not exactly sure how that's calculated, but all I know is my oxygen lasts longer now. This new exoskeleton means I have space for 4 new things on my person. I hope I don't get bugs on my person. I hate bugs. And now that we're in the tree stage, we're moving towards the insect stage. I make a biomass screen here, so I also have an idea of where my organic terraformation is at. Lagging behind a bit, I'm sure, but I don't have any insect or animal machines just yet. Nope, the only biomass I can increase at the moment is plants, so I decide I want to make a bunch of these tier 2 flower spreaders. So I toss 5 of these outside, and I realize a misplay I've been doing. Okay. Oh, I'm supposed to put flowers in them. Oh god damn it, I am so incredibly stupid. It turns out just the tier 2 ones can have flowers in them, so my first instinct is to go grab a bunch of random flowers from my flower storage, and I toss them in all these flower spreaders. This is a brain fart on my end. Maybe I was distracted by all these very pretty flowers. I quickly throw down a multiplier fuse thing, and look elsewhere, which is these plant rockets I have now. I make one of them, and I send it into orbit, because they will spread bacteria from outer space, which sounds ideal. Yep, the atmosphere turns a lovely shade of green when I do this. We have finally reached our 1 ton of biomass. However, the first insect machine, the beehive, is unlocked at 80 tons, so we're a little way off. So a second plant rocket is sent up, and I head out looking for more pulsar quartz to make more fusion reactors. Only a stone throw away from the mushroom cave entrance, I see a whole new section has opened up to me. Now that is looking absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. That is amazing. That looks beautiful, man. Yup, I am definitely taking that. Thank you very much. Found a new area to explore. Yeah, this place is absolutely gorgeous. We're seeing our first trees here. That's very good. When I get home though, I was a little sad. I didn't find enough pulsar cords, but I finally used my brain to rectify that brain fart of mine, which I'll fix shortly, because I'm interrupted by a very violent meteor storm. Violent for a reason. These meteors had super alloy in them, and I collect my fill. So I finally correct my mistake, which is taking these really awesome golden seeds out of these crappy tier 3 veggie tubes and replacing them in the proper flower spreaders, because this is much better. As I place the other flowers in the veggie tubes, I see something. And what do I see here? This is our very first common lava. And another one. We're starting to see insects on the world now. That is good. I'm gonna have to make a case for all these bugs that I'll find over time. I make a separate storage and I throw these bugs in here for now, because that's where you store bugs apparently. I want to follow those other warden coordinates and I gather what I need, but before I take 2 steps I see a rare lava. Looks like I'll be coming across different types already, so I'm flying to my destination, and look at that super alloy alley place, looking very pretty now. That's looking fantastic. Wonder if I can get up there. I really want to get up there. The view from up there would be fantastic. For now though, I follow my coordinates and I come across this massive oasis area, which I haven't seen yet. Doesn't this look all fancy and stuff? Does this even look like the same planet? Ah, this looks fantastic. I make my way to the opposite side, see a cliff face but a sneaky warden altar right here. Once I toss these 3 keys in, that giant cliff face starts to shift, and once I'm in the clear, I follow this passage. I wade through a small river, set my eyes on another small wooden bridge, and then a very nice ancient looking civilization in the distance. I see a key here, a very nice shade of blue on this brick mortar, and a stairway leading to a door with another altar and a message. The altar needs 5 keys it seems, and the message simply reads, "Once we lived." Well, I want to know more, so I search for the other 4 keys. There's one up this treacherous flight of wooden ramps, and while I'm up so high, I try to see any others from this viewpoint. No, I try the opposite point of view. This is a very nice looking place, but in time I do find all 5 of these warden keys. Oh, it's been in front of me this whole time. Oh, that's funny. That's way too funny. Okay, here we go. Ooh, and the tier 2 machine has been unlocked. Perfect timing, actually. Beyond this door, a passage that leads into a smallish room with lots of golden butterflies, which is weird. Again, I'm still in the insect stage, so are these separate from my own terraformation? Anyways, I read the message in the room. Once again, a calamity befalls our people. If the predictions are correct, a meteor will hit the planet in just a few days. The cities we built, the splendors we created will fall. Our arts, traditions, discoveries, and lives will vanish. Once again, destruction is upon us, but this time we will not flee as we did generations ago. What is the point of running away when demise chases you so vigorously? We accept our fate, are proud of what we were, and remain true to our values. Our story will disappear under the ashes of flame and dust. Like a butterfly's life, beautiful and evanescent, it's time to meet our end. A warden. The end. Okay, seems like a meteor wiped these people out, and they accepted their fate. So they're all dead, but you know, their stuff still remains. That giant orb is still remaining, and that giant orb is bringing down human ships. I'm really curious as to what year this all transpired. As I ponder this, I pilfer this chest, and I find a golden butterfly larva that multiplies insects by 1500%, which is huge. And another one in the opposite golden chest. What a bounty! Is there anything else here? Because it kind of looks like the breadcrumb trail of these people has ended here. But then again, that makes sense because they say our story will disappear under the ashes of the flame and dust. which means these guys are over. It's done for them. So a giant meteor has hit this planet, has it? Wonder how long ago that was, because that's probably what's made this planet uninhabitable then, I guess. Which is why me and Xiaodan and Iklas are here. So as I fly home, I have two things that are on my mind. There is still that giant ship in the cave which belonged to the wardens, and I'm not sure whether or not that energy orb that brings down ships is still active, because it brought ships down 30 odd years ago, but I was sent down here with no problem. These questions still linger in my head in regards to the wardens, but I guess thinking back, my space pod did say warning imminent impact, but that means my pod was still on as I crashed, and the other people said that their ships were shut down completely prior to crashing. I think I'm thinking too much into this. My mind quickly turns to optimizing, and I want to replace all my tier 1 optimizers with their tier 2s. I decide to do my pressure machines because looking at this, I've got all the heat related tech rewards, but I have the tier 3 ore extractor for my pressure coming up, and then I'll focus on the oxygen because that's fallen behind, but I have plenty of spare fuses I can use, as you can see here. The new ones are better because they can optimize 8 surrounding machines, and they can store 3 fuses in them, meaning up to 1500% better for 8 machines, which is huge. My flower spreaders get the same treatment, and I decided to do my heaters as well for the overall GTI numbers, and then I saw that vine again. Moments later the heaters are optimized, and I climb up that giant vine that's grown here, and up here is a bunch of lovely stuff. Lovely stuff like this chest here, but not as lovely as this view. And would you look at that? This is a very nice view. This is home pretty much. As I'm playing around in my inventory later, I see I unlocked the incubator, and this machine is a whole lot of fun. These biomass blueprints will be fun as well, and the tonnage and biomass is coming along nicely. I go check out that view again and I realize something. I think that area is opening up. Indeed, that will be an easy passage eventually to get to that giant waterfall. Now back at Super Alloy Alley, I see another vine I can climb up. Can I climb up this? Yes, I can. Oh. You know, even in my very first playthrough, I've not seen this. This is fantastic. This view is fantastic, and yeah, that is definitely opening up. That vine is just ripping that thing apart. I guess the biomass is ripping up new pathways for me. Oh, we got now 1.6, so our oxygen consumption is getting drastically better right now. It's very good stuff. Also, I hate when I do this. Don't just idiot. I don't hate the views, especially at nighttime. Check out that planet. And I also see something out of place. Volnus plant? Really? Excuse me? Wow, did I just pick up something awesome randomly on the ground? I did not know you can do that. I had absolutely no idea. That's amazing. Oh, that's good. I guess I'll have to keep my eyes open for things like this, which I do, and I see another underground bunker. This one is unique because it's a few buildings which opens into a passageway underground that leads into more buildings. I don't know if that's good for oxygen circulation, but it is another Iklas location. I get my tier 2 food grower, and this message reads that Allmate will not give up on quitting this planet. I think this fellow was not a planet crafter, but someone who crash landed, and they seem to be moving frequently, trying to dig deep enough to find resources to build a launch platform and escape the winds. He'll be looking for a meteor crater, so maybe I should be looking for more clues about him in such a place. 3040, so 18 years ago, and for him, he's been here for 3 years now as he crash landed in 3037. What I enjoyed most about this pilfering session was that I found my first plant fuse. They seem to be rare. So my plan is to obviously use this to boost all my flower spreaders. I unlocked the water filter as well, so it looks like things are coming up out of me. I'm exploring a little bit in the oasis area, and I see a familiar shade of pink. Oh wow! Oh my god! Is this pop? It is! It is! Very nice indeed. Look at that. Haha, wow. With this bounty, I can increase my power supply. There is purple crystals here as well. They're called magnetar quartz. I haven't seen these yet. This is also news. I'm almost into the insect stage, despite the fact I've already been picking up plenty of bugs. Now, my plan was to use this plant fuse with my flower spreaders, but I have almost unlocked the tree spreader, and I think I want to hold on to that until I see what that is all about. And this is what it's all about. 920 oxygen and 97 plants per second. Not bad at all, and that fuse will be used better here. Speaking of a lot of oxygen, this is in fact the next stage. I'm already 5% towards a breathable atmosphere, so it's just on the horizon. For now, I make myself a space trade platform, because I saw it and I thought, why not? I have a quick squiz and I see things I can trade for Terra tokens. I currently have 0. Obviously, so I need to sell things before I'm able to afford anything. The tier 2 locker storage is something I really want, and these power fuses can also skyrocket my energy supply, in due time though. For now, I have to gather up some sciencey type stuff to make some tree spreaders. I can only make 5 at this time. I'm collecting my algae and I remembered putting them close to shore because I wanted to optimize their oxygen, but that's bad for their algae generation as they're too close to the shoreline. I'm gonna need a lot of algae because bacteria samples are a base thing and I need that for a lot of other stuff. Now, to make the actual trees, I'm going to need a DNA manipulator, which I promptly make and I toss it down randomly, and I have a quick look at these 3 types of trees I can make. After I make a second DNA manipulator, I decide to make these Alatius trees because they look nice. I throw in the requirements and I let the sequencing begin. This is why I made a second one. It takes a short while for this tree to be researched. And while I wait, it rains. I'm mentioning it because I haven't seen rain in quite a while. It feels good. The first couple of trees are done and I start the next ones. I move the algae machines to the middle of the lake to maximize the resource output, and I decide on a location for this massive forest. That area has always been an eyesore, but this isn't an eyesore though. So underneath the water here? Yeah, that's what I want to see. Look at that. That is definitely what I want to see. For these 5 tree spreaders, I grabbed 2 oxygen fuses and 1 plant fuse. This body of water looks like a good starting place. This is how my oxygen is climbing at the moment. I throw down these 5 tree spreaders and I put these nice trees in all of them. I see that there is a growth percentage, so I guess I don't have a solid idea on how much it increases my TI just yet, but there are some immediate improvements. Oxygen is skyrocketing, look at that. Okay, that's fantastic. And the plants is also oh wow, look at that. Yeah, we were definitely not going that quickly before, so, well, looks like I'll have those beehives at the 80-ton mark shortly. In fact, I was planning on exploring that frozen area again, but instead I waited for the beehives to unlock, so I read a little bit. So the outdoor farm we get with insects at 150 tons. We just received our beehive, which is going to be good stuff. So the outdoor farm is something I really, really want. So okay, if that is the case, we can now make these beehives, which is this. We need a bee larvae, which means we actually need to start that situation, don't we? This is a fun part of the game, and it involves the incubator. These days, I'm just throwing stuff everywhere. It's shocking, I know, but I do plan on doing a final big base once I have a few building types. Anyways, I make 2 incubators because they also take time to do their thing, like the DNA manipulator. To make these bee larvae, I need an uncommon worm, mutagen, and fertilizer, so more sciencey type stuff. Luckily, I should have what I need at this point, but later I will have to work for it. It is hard work with a meteor shower shaking the environment so much. It turns out that is another super alloy shower, so I will get my fill again. And everyone likes a quick dip before getting into more science type stuff. Now, mutagen requires 1 bacteria, 1 methane cartridge, and sulfur. So the deeper you go with this science stuff, the harder it is to make these things, because everything will act as a base resource to make up the more complicated stuff. Researching a bee larva also sounds complicated, but it's not. I just toss in the requirements in here and let the incubator do its thing for me. Once they're done, you can see the bees in here, which is pretty cool. I toss my beehives just outside. There we go. So these guys will produce honey for me. And right now they're making, the plants is going up a lot actually, like a lot, and the insects is going up. So there we go, we're finally getting some stuff there. And not a major increase in insects, but hey, it's a start. I will need more grubs in the future for this, and I will say the uncommon larvae are kind of hard to come by when you're actually looking for them, so I will make sure to pick them up as I go. Okay, so we've started up the insects. There's not much more we can do with that at this given point in time, but we can go ahead and make the butterfly dome. So where is that? Jeez, that was actually incredibly good timing. So as I make what I need to do that, I remembered those 1500% butterflies I found before. Oh yeah, those bad boys are going in this butterfly dome. So my insects is currently growing at 30 grams per second right now. 2 magical floating biodomes are placed in the air. 2 amazing golden butterflies are unleashed inside one dome. So I realized I made the second dome for no reason, so when I take it down, I also unlocked the high quality food, which is good news for me. Okay, so I was going at 30 grams, yeah? The insect is now at 630 grams. Look at that, that is going fantastically well. This stuff is going to start unlocking very quickly. 1.5 tons. Yeah, no, that's good. That's very good indeed. Yep, those farms are just around the corner now. And as these are just around the corner, I decide to go back to that large frozen area, and I go and grab my travel gear. But this is what the frozen area looks like now. Wow. This place has changed heaps. Oh, that looks so good. There's my old little base there. And there's a... Okay, you know what? Okay, there's the thingy base there. Iceland. So we'll keep that one there. And I want to make another base a little bit further down this way. I follow this river and it leads me to a waterfall going down into more rivers leading underground, it seems. I set up shop, and in these caverns I see bright lights. Before I investigate, my old gamer instinct kicks in. Is there gonna be the old, thing behind the waterfall? Yep, I love it. Love it so much. I eventually make my way inside this cave from a top entrance, and I come across that magnetite quartz I saw a little while ago exploring from the oasis. It looks like this is the same cave network. There is also a lot of chests in here, plus also all those chests outside I have gathered beforehand. There is pulsar quartz here, there is quasar quartz here, which is green, solar quartz, which looks like it's orange, and blazar quartz, which is blue. So definitely a quartzy kind of cave, this one. I haven't even gathered everything, but unfortunately, oh my goodness gracious. Okay, well, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's four more trips that I've got to do. Yep, a lot of holding stuff back and forth. I do spend a lot of time flying everything back, so I stopped the recording for a little bit. That vehicle sure would have been nice. So naturally off camera, I unlocked that outdoor farm. You've seen me do sciencey stuff before, but what I'm going to do is put all the base ingredients in this chest and research what I need. In fact, I decided to make the autocrafter at this point. This bad boy will make me anything I can make given the resources it needs are in storage chests close by, so this will really help me out. It really saves me manually doing everything. So I've got a bit of a plan on how I want to do this. My plan is to build these farms on top of the roof of the science lab in range of the autocrafter. That's because a lot of veggies are required in science things, and when you use these farms, it hoards up to 5 veggies at a time. It's still classed as a storage, so if I need to make anything using a particular vegetable, and it's up here ready to be harvested, the autocrafter plucks it up and it automatically starts growing another one, as all 5 veggies can be at different growth stages. It is also less space consuming than 5 separate food growers. Now while I wait, my pressure hasn't reached that tier 3 ore extractor yet, and I need to fix that. My pressure is sitting here, so another multiplier with 3 pressure fuses is set up, and then I get distracted by a one single big boy meteor. My pressure looks like this now, maybe even doubled it seems. Now that meteor had pulsar quartz in it, which is quite a bounty. A short while later, another meteor shower, and this one carried sulfur and osmium, which is also quite a bounty. Received. This guy is going to come to us very shortly as well. I'm pretty sure we're going to get this tree spreader before we get this. We have finally reached 1.6 ppm, and we need 6 of them to get the tier 2. I'm fairly certain we're going to get this one first. Just the way it's going. We're halfway into oxygen, which is also good stuff. I sent up a pressure rocket, because I felt like it, and I realized I never sent map satellite rockets up. partly because I've played the game before and I'm familiar with the map already. However, I decided to set up all the ones I can at this point, and once I'm ready, I make the mapping screen. Mapping. Alright, here we go. So now we can see us. And what's this orbital screen? Let's just do that one as well. And here we can see how many things we've sent up as well. Okay, good to know. So we just need to make another compass. So again, I went ahead and set up all tier 1 to tier 4 map information screens, and it reveals resources on the map for me. If you look closely, it tells you where certain resources are, but before that I want to make teleporters, plural. I place one down just outside my resource dump, and I fly to where that giant vine was making a passageway for me. And from the looks of it, I was right. Looks like this giant tree just completely annihilated this wall. And there is a massive waterfall here. And in fact, this is how I got in. This is where the mushroom place is, actually. Yeah, this is it. Mushrooms is just over there. So this is all connected. We have just got the tier 3 ore extractor. Good stuff indeed. So if that is the case, let's go ahead, put the other one just here for now. And we can now go anywhere on the map and just teleport instantly back home, and we can do any of our runs this way now. Oh, that's amazing. You only need 2 of these ones. You don't really need to put them all over the place. Now I really want to make those tier 3 ore extractors, but I find out shortly that I don't even have the resources on hand to do so. And I have another quick oopsie. What the f***, man? You utter useless mother. Also, I really wanted to show you how these farms are doing. They are doing very well indeed. Because I'm lacking resources for those extractors, I decide I will explore a bit and look for them. So I use my teleporter to shoot myself back south towards the waterfall. I pick up the outside teleporter and I will always carry this with me. When my inventory is full, I will simply rebuild it and drop stuff off at home and repeat. I don't actually need oxygen or water or food on me, and I fix that over time when I realize it, because right now that's unnecessary items I'm carrying. I also make a temporary dumping box here, so I don't have to drop everything in their respective storages straight away. However, I'm feeling these massive pains of just not having enough space. God damn, man. Yeah, I'll rebuild my base again very shortly. But hey, my oxygen consumption is minimal now, so we're almost at the breathable atmosphere, which is good news. From a short trip, I found what I needed to make one tier 3 ore extractor. The difference is that this one is designed to bring up specific resources that are present in the area. Remember when I said I was excited for the tier 2 extractor and I kind of forgot about it? Yeah, this one is on my mind now. Anyways, in this location, all the general materials but also sulfur. So I tell it to focus on bringing up sulfur for me. Before on the map you saw resource nodes, and that helps me determine where I can extract particular resources. However, current me still didn't know this yet. I would have liked to make a bunch of things that can make me super alloy, but I don't think that's going to be the case for me. Like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. Yeah, I actually can, and I will realize that later. But for now, I traverse a natural bridge, which is pretty cool. Wow, that is so cool. Oh, that is amazing. I'm loving that. I then decide to check behind this particular waterfall, because my old gamer instinct tells me to do that. And would you believe it, a little cave system. But inside I come across a sad scene. This looks like a bunch of gravestones. A chest filled with oxygen tanks, agility boots and such, and I finally come across a message, which I'll paraphrase for you. These were the survivors from the Cenotat 2. They were supposed to be a holidaying space cruise, a fun, relaxing time, but the stupid crew failed to respond to a minor incident which brought down the ship to this planet. Some of the bodies were buried here and the survivors wanted to head out west. This was in 3043, so 15 years ago. I have to feel bad for the crew because I know that the minor incident was caused by alien technology forcing their vessel down. Poor people. I want to know where they went and find out what happened, so I check my built-in compass and I start flying in a westerly direction. I see a spacecraft down south, which is likely the Cenotat 2, but for now I will continue west. I climb up some rocks and there's huge open spaces here. Now from this cliff top, West seems to go straight into the desert or along that cliff face. I have a look at my map, but looks like there's nothing out there, and my rocket should reveal locations of interest. Well, regardless, I go for a desert excursion, but I quickly give up on this. But tell me, who knows this banger? Going back west, yes I know I'll make it alright. Going back west, I think I'll be alright. Damn, that takes me back to the 90s when I first heard it. Anyways, I head back and I make my way up these rocks and I stumble across something big. Not really seeing any sign of these survivors. Ooh. That would be a giant meteor crater. Current me doesn't remember this, but didn't Iklis say that he was looking for something like this to keep away from winds? I do a loop around this crater to scope it out, and I got the T3 tree spreader before I got the second one. Let's have a look at that. Tree spreader. Yep, we got the T3 tree spreader before we got the second one. I laughed to myself on how I managed to do that, and as I do, I see a couple of solar panel generators and an underground base again. I set up my teleporter and I realize something, and looks like oxygen is no longer a problem for us. We are now in breathable atmosphere, which is actually interesting, because what does that mean for the next stage? Fish. Very nice. We're moving into the fish now. We're gonna see some fishies. Now, this underground base is actually really big. Quite luckily, I have infinite oxygen now. It is a very big base, again, and at first I thought this might be where the Sinner Tattoo survivors went. I come across my first Terra tokens, and this trip is worth 100 points for me. The first message is a log of attempted distress messages. Lots of them, actually. The year is 3041, and it's signed by Iklis, so Old Mate did make it here. And this was actually only 2 years before the Sinner Tattoo survivors wound up on this planet. I actually wonder if these groups ever met each other. I mean, maybe, because this place is really big. I feel like lots of people would live here. I mean, look at the amount of veggie tubes just sitting here. Another message from Iklis, it's still in 3041, and for reference, Allmate has been here for about 4 years now. But he's lost track of how long he's been here, and he wonders if his family still remembers him. If anyone remembers him, he seems to be losing hope. He is doing his best though, and he does think he's getting better. He's hoping that somebody will send a rescue operation for him, but he quickly gives up on this idea that why would anyone want to rescue him? The poor fella is starting to fall into despair. I'm sorry to hear Old Mate is doing badly, I think to myself as I help myself to all of his computer chips in here. Another message, a positive one. Iklis seems to have accepted that he may be stuck here. He's perfectly capable of looking after himself. He has water, he has food, he has sustainable power, and finally, some comfort. He may live like this himself until he dies, which is still a negative, but at this point, something is strange for him about this planet. The longer he's stayed here, the more he feels at home, which he brushes aside as nonsense. It's still in 3041, and this is the final message I found in here. I don't know what his fate was, perhaps he passed away peacefully, but again, there is no sign of any corpses. I decide to take a swim, and I find a cheeky underground base down here. Obviously, this was before the water filled the crater. Funny enough, my teleporter works underwater, so when I run low on oxygen, because I'll be diving, I can just teleport home and get my oxygen back. I am capable of teleporting myself while I'm underwater. That is fantastic. Guess what? This base also belonged to Iklis as well. It's still the same year, though I don't know if this was before or after, but after reading, this is when he found the crater. He hated this particular location and he couldn't make a platform, and says he's going to build one higher up, which I've already investigated, so this was before that previous big base. I also found a chest just outside. Got myself encumbered and I had a bit of a moment. Don't deconstruct it, man! Oh, I hate you so much right now. Oh, for sake. Okay, drop this piece of shit. Yep, I won't let that happen again. I had to drop things to be able to pick stuff back up again to remake the teleporter before they despawn. Quite fun and stressful. Later, after having my rage moment, I found a cave on the other side of this crater. a couple of nice resources going through it, and I stumble across a really nice looking waterfall at one exit, and another long exit leads me to a whole new area, one that leads me to another downed vessel. Actually, I'm very close to the sulfur fields, which is just beyond this odd sand waterfall. For now, I go back to that waterfall I found at the other end, and it turns out it's connected to the giant crater, which is quite nice. I can get here easily enough. Just above it, and here is that thing. So the cave that we just went in is just underneath here. As I can get there again, I take a breather because I want to take some time out to make these tier 3 tree spreaders first. I do some investigating because I want to see which tree has the best percentages that I can make, and it seems that the one that requires the vulnerous plant gives the most oxygen percentage by almost 3 to 4 times, so yes please. The thing is, I don't think I can make these, and remember that one time I randomly found a vulnerous plant near the oasis area? So I go and admire the greenery that's taking over this broken down vessel, and I search for more of those wild plants, but I come up short and I give up on the idea. I try to look at my blueprints to see if I will unlock any soon, but no dice. Oh well, I have 2 of them, let's not get greedy. I lied, I got greedy, and I spent more time looking in the oasis, but look how beautiful this area is now. By the way, I found none. I get home, I science myself up some trees, because that's how it works in the year 3058. I don't understand it myself, but it's good stuff. What I can understand is the autocrafter. I love this machine making me tier 2 fertilizer so long as the ingredients are within range. But my tree farm bark maker thing needs to make me more tree barks to get what I need. By the way, the tier 3 tree spreader, it makes me 8,500 oxygen per second and 1,250 plants per second, which is huge. I need to wait for that tree bark. I see I unlocked the fusion energy cell and they are important, so I make one of them. I forgot to read messages as they have been coming in. The first one is from Sentinel Core, and it's letting me know that I have larvae on my planet, and to make some bees to improve the terraformation. Well, a little bit late, I've already done that. They also threatened me, saying not to communicate with anyone else except them. Oops? Wait. I haven't contacted anyone, I just read messages, like this one from Riley, who says that she sent me the space trading platform ages ago to help improve my chances of survival. Cheers love, I'll utilize that soon. For now, back to that giant waterfall in the crater. Whew, what a view! The view from the bottom is interesting as well. It looks like an underwater passage, which leads me to the very first vertebrate creature I see. Fish. I wasn't aware I was in the fish stage yet. There is something magical about seeing these colorful fish. However, this is terrifying. A giant hole that goes deeper. I always make sure to put my teleporter down when I need to catch my breath. Interestingly enough, I see a man-made structure down here, which is also weird. I pilfer what I can in the submerged base. I find a message. It's from that mad lad Ichlis, 3042. So a year after his last message, and he's been here 5 years now. This guy is doing work. He seems to have an iron will. He will not give up. He seems to be doing what he must to find the resources he needs to get off this hell. I guess he changed his mind about staying. He does whinge that without a multi-purpose tool, everything takes longer, but he will persevere. He won't give up. He won't surrender. What a champion. For some reason at this point, past me wondered as I was deconstructing this place, why did this planet look so dead when I arrived? Surely Ichlis or even Xiaodan did some work. I would have thought that the planet would maybe be more alive, but when I arrived, what is now 16 years after the last message, the place was completely barren and devoid of terraformation. Even Xiaodan was only here a couple of years ago. But present me now knows that Ichlis is not a planet crafter. He is a survivor from a crash, and I need to find that ship he was on, actually, the one that had that deconstructible wall. I wonder what their purpose was before they went down. Now here is something unexpected. Another warden type area just ahead, with a message. I'll read myself. The self should not exist. That's what we've been told since we were born. We live as one. We the wardens are one, united without individuals in the group. Can the concept of a group even exist if there are no entities? But when your own existence is threatened, when yourself can disappear, how can one really be selfless? Is the urge to survive really incompatible with selflessness? Look, I'm no philosopher, but this mindset really reminds me of the Protoss from the StarCraft game that Blizzard made ages ago. If you know, you know. I follow this water passage and it leads me up a flight of stairs, and I'm above water again with another warden place, and there's also a message. We want to survive. Waiting for certain death is not selflessness, It is suicide. It is self-destruction. Some of us have chosen to leave before the inevitable, to leave the destruction behind and our loved ones who think that fate is greater than choice. If you want to join us, use this chip to find 10 hidden keys we have left behind on this planet and place them within an extraction capsule. Well, that is interesting. Some of these guys are alive, maybe, and there's an invitation to join them given I find these 10 keys, though I'm sure that's for other wardens, not humans. I find the warden key to take the blue chip and I need to scan it to learn the blueprint. Maybe I can escape this planet with the help of the wardens. They did say we looked alike in that very first message I found in the mushroom cave. I do ponder this as I swam back the way I came, and I researched that blueprint when I got home and unlocked the warden detector key. I don't look into this just yet, because I get distracted by the fact that I'm not in the fish stage yet. I haven't seen fish anywhere else except for that one location, which is really weird. Yeah, my lake has 0 fish, but then again the other warden place where I got those golden butterflies had butterflies before I did, so the warden areas are really weird. Now, what is not weird is that my bark supply is up and I'm ready to make my tier 3 tree spreaders. But apparently that's not what I'm excited for, as I'm flying back to this big ship that was in the desert. My 3rd ship I explored, I think. Well, it was before I had my tier 2 deconstructor, so these things haven't been collected yet. But this isn't the reason for my return. The fusion reactor is, because I made that fusion energy cell. So, if we do this, chuck this in there, and several doors have just opened. Since I heard a few doors open, I can now explore a little bit further in this ship, and these rooms have a few extra things in them. Usually I also find a giant vault in these extra expeditions. Very good stuff. There we go, look at this. This one's worth 5,000. We shall help ourselves to that. Insert this fuse into an order to speed up the generation of time machines. That's also quite good. And quite a few goodies there, but those Terra tokens are used for trading, and this type of exploring is going to kickstart my own trading. I have 8,600 points to spend right now. Now this desert I decided was a bit of an eyesore, so I toss all my tier 3 tree spreaders up here. I want that plant and oxygen fuses here, so I fly back to my tier 1 lot and actually get some footage of this little forest I planted ages ago. It's not as magnificent as I was hoping it would be. I take that back. Up close, it's quite lush. I finished putting all these trees in their new machines, set up this optimizer, and I let it fly. I didn't get the before and after shots of this increase, but I imagine it's huge. Let's see how long it takes me to come back and actually show you what this future forest will look like. While I wait, I go to my trade rocket, and the thing I really want is that tier 2 locker storage, so I'm going to get it. I place my order, launch the trade rocket, and I'll have to wait a short while until it comes back with the blueprint. So while I wait again, another ship needs to be further explored. More technical debris to deconstruct as well, because those circuit boards are of great value to me, as you'll soon see. Another fusion energy cell has been used here, which allows me to pilfer another vault. But here we are. Here's another one of these. And it has all of these. So 100, 100, 1,000, 1,000, 500, 500, and 500. Oh, we want to do this. It is nighttime, so I decide on the little nighttime swimming to see if I can spot any fish. Still no fish, which makes me sad. I think I actually have to physically introduce these fish into this place. Not dwelling on the lack of fish yet, I go to that giant circle ship. This place has changed. I do make a quick detour back home, because I can teleport and I collect this tier 2 locker storage. Now this thing takes super alloy and 1 circuit board, hence why those boards are important. And we're just going to chuck it right here. I want to see this. Oh, look at this thing. So, for reference, 5, 6, 7, yeah, so that's 35 spaces. This is huge. This is 80 versus 35. That is so much more storage. I am so keen for this. Wonderful. Now, as these take super alloys, and I'm planning on building a lot of them, I'm going to need a lot of that resource. And I must have figured out how this map works, because I know where I can find super alloy now, thanks to this map. I fly over there, and you get a distant view of that forest growing. Quite lovely. I get to the location, which is just outside that warden place, by the way. I toss down 2 tier 3 ore extractors, set them to super alloy, and I let them do their thing. And as I do that, I unlock the drone station, which is something really exciting, and I'll get to that soon. You know the old saying about watching paint dry? How about watching trees grow? You can see them slowly growing. Here, I'll put my mouse here. You can see it slowly going up. Yep, you can slowly see them rising. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that is so good. I love it. I head to the circle ship and I spend another fusion energy cell and get an absolute bounty in return. Use. Alright, 100,000, 500. That's where are we up to? We are on to. No, you were joking me. You bastard. Maybe there's one more chest somewhere. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, come on, man. And we just got the butterfly farm as well, which is good stuff. That butterfly farm sounds really good, but I was gutted because I needed 100 more Terra tokens for something I really wanted. It's this 3x3 living compartment. I am planning on rebuilding the entire base and I absolutely must have these bad boys. Now that's okay, I still have this lava ship to completely strip. And this one has the audacity to ask me for 2 fusion energy cells. Absolutely outrageous! But all is forgiven when I get what I came for. I also remembered seeing that other ship close to the big waterfall, where the survivors decided to go west, and I never found them, actually. Well, I found their ship, and I decided to have a bit of a look around. It's just like any other ship, nothing special. Just an annoyance. Is it? Yep, you fly back to the thing. Yep, the cheeky bastards made this one a 3 fusion energy requirement. Absolute demons. I quickly went home and I sent another rocket requesting that 3x3 so that it should arrive by the time I'm done. For some reason I really wanted a piece of obsidian and I had a moment. Here we go, here's the prize. Here's the prize. Maybe I'll grab a couple more just for good measure if I can pick it up. Can you pick it up please? Oi, pick it up. Oh man. Pick up this piece of thing before you die, you fool. Okay. Nope, I'm not getting that one. Also, I think this counts as getting burnt by lava, right? Anyways, I needed obsidian to make that other fusion thing. Well, I scolded myself for this. And... nice, that is a good amount of pulsar quartz. Plus a nice vault of things. Another energy fuse as well, which is quite handy. So it is time now to start making the main base. I really want to start making my main base. The base that's going to take me from 76 GTI. There we go, we got a new tree, the Sherox tree. I will be honest, I have made that tree before. It's a ugly looking mushroom. Okay, ugly mushrooms aside, I was saying there that it's time to start building my final main base that's going to see me through to the end of this 100% video. I am currently 50% into fish, so it's slowed right down. I'm happy though, because my Amazon delivery of that 3x3 is here. So at this point in time, right now it's me, the planet, and getting to pretty much the end of the game however I see fit. We still have plenty of stages that we need to go through. We still have some things that we need to learn. The final point being the extraction platform that we learn at 5 points of TTI, which I would imagine is after the G, which is I haven't even gotten 1, so it's going to take a fair while to get there. Our biomass is appalling, so we need to start working towards our biomass and start getting animals and all that sort of stuff on this planet. And the final thing that I want to do is start making my main base. And I was waiting so I can build these 3x3s. Let me just decode this. I've been waiting so I can learn this bad boy, so I can actually make it with these things. And indeed, that is going to take titanium, iron, and super alloy. And where I want to build the main base is going to be on the river, or on the lake. This is going to be my base. I'm very keen for this. I'm going to start by making a big platform leading into the middle of the lake. I want to make sure it stays above the lake's surface, and then I make it 10 wide in each direction. Here's an aerial view for you. And I like the idea of being on top of the lake. Speaking of that, are there any fishes down here? No, there are no fishies down here. Why are there no fishies down here? I guess I'm still going towards the fish stage, aren't I? One thing that is easy to spot is insects on my base platform. Speaking of which, I will make a quick detour and make 8 of these butterfly farms. I throw all of them out here in the front, and I'm delighted to see that they require a lava of some sort to really get going. The only thing I'm going to mention here is that all the late stage butterflies take the exact same requirements. So when you make it, there's a chance you'll get the better one or the worse one. It is what it is, I guess. I start this process, but I decided to make 4 incubators incubators for the occasion, and I also chose to place those golden butterflies in here as well, because I think it's going to be better this way. Our insects is sitting at 2,404 GS. I throw all the better worms I made into these farms, and insects is now at 3,889, so that's gone up. And I can see that it is actually ticking up relatively quickly, which is good stuff. Back to the building, and can you remember my whinge about the placement not being centered on my old base? I'll put it right there. Hello, grub. Why does that one seem like it's exactly in the middle? That one is exactly in the middle. What's wrong with that one up there? Why? Why? Oh my goodness gracious me. That was also how my butterfly farm looked. Nice, we just got the T5 heater. Let's look at these stats on this big boy. So this is the previous one. This is the next one. 4,500. It's almost 10 times better. I think it's time to skyrocket the GTI. Yes, I think it is time to skyrocket this GTI. Now I say that, but I take another look, and these take 3 super alloy rods each, and my alloy is kind of earmarked for the new storage expansion, so I'm going to put a lid on that now. In fact, I do find at this late stage of the game I'm a little bit resource starved for a lot of things, so I decide I need to make my new storage depot first and then start filling it up. How, you ask? Oh, don't worry, we'll get to that. But yeah, as I'm building my base, I keep running out of basic resources, which is frustrating, mainly iron, but regardless, I placed down my first 3x3. This is going to be our storage room. This is indeed our future storage room. I'm really looking forward to it. I make some more tier 3 ore extractors. One will get me only iron, one will get me silicon. This one is for titanium, and I will eventually have extractors for each base resource. And then eventually I'll move on to all the more important resources, like osmium. Oh wait, hold on, past me has something really important to say. Excuse you, mate. Now, while I was out in this area, I also picked up that super alloy I can from my other extractors. Harvesting is sorted, but what about delivery? Maybe a little drone action is going to be required. I mean, I have all these machines dotted around the map getting me resources, so I need something else to retrieve it for me. This is what the drone station is for, and I slap it on my rooftop. I can make these little drones here, and they are a little bit expensive. Circuit boards are really going to be a thing, and I take stock of how much I have on hand right now. I need them for both drones and these big boy lockers. I do have a lot though, and I also have this many rockets, all from my grave robbing of course. It doesn't matter how I got them, and I make 10 of these drones using said resource. For now, they're just chilling right here in the station. Okay, well, forget 10, apparently I'm making a lot more. Well done, mate, 25 it is? Righto. Next, I start building all my new storage lockers. This is how it starts, and this is how it's going after a while. I quickly make a random locker outside, and I set it to demand super alloy with a priority of 1. I go to my super alloy extractors, and I set them to supply that resource with a priority of 1 as well. So as I fly home, I keep my eyes open. I should be able to see a bunch of, yep, there you go, that's all of them right there. Oh, that's the funniest thing. And because that's, yeah, they'll bring that entire chest back in one go. That's amazing. My god, that's bots. That's so funny. Don't worry, boss, we got this. Come on, lads, you've got this. Oh, that's so good. Come on. Here they come. Oh, see them? See them all? Here we go. Check this out. 1. Where's that? Oh, that is so good. And that's why the drone station is amazing. I also wanted to organize better, so I made signs on the end of these rows, so I know where resources will go. This makes me jubilant. One side is almost done now. Isn't that looking amazing? Lovely. I may be laughing there, but this is no laughing matter. Nope, I'm still not seeing any fish. Are we even in the fish stage? And we are sitting at 87% towards fish, so okay, fair enough. it's still a little while. A little bit later, I had a thought while I was standing on my algae machines. Can the autocrafters pick this up in the world? I make a random platform and this crafter on top. Yep, you can activate the algae. So long as the algae is within range of this thing, that's what it's going to do. So that then raises the question. I need to pretty much have the algae stations beneath my laboratories. Yep, that is going to be a problem. But for now, my second 3x3 is going down. My third super alloy extractor is going down now as well. And I have a think about how I will make this lab close enough to the algae machines. They can't be built directly under these platforms, and they have to be on the surface. Look, long story short here, I played around for quite a while, trying to build platforms slightly higher than the water level, and maybe putting the labs on top, but it looked dumb as hell. Especially if they have to be very high for these algae generators. Yeah, no, I scrapped this idea. But some good news, I'm finally in the fish stage, apparently, and moving towards amphibians now. I played a little bit off camera. The new base is coming along quite nicely. I'm trying to use lights this time. Here's a fly around it thus far. So this is what this entire place looks like thus far. We can still expand and all that sort of stuff as we need. My storage room is done with 2 autocrafters in the middle, which I can use to automate any resource I want. A few spare lockers there for random things, and I've set the lockers to receive resources from the drones from all the ore extractors. I built a lab quite close to the water edge. I have 2 labs for some reason, but let's forget that. I start to break down the ore base, and I tell the drones to take all the resources from the ore base lockers and transport it to the new ones, which saves me a headache. I'm looking at my map and I have placed down ore extractors at all resource nodes, and I have them being transported back to the storage room via drone labor. Here I am sipping coffee as these little guys are flying back and forth. Alright, so spare with the quartz. I make a nice fence around the entire platform so I don't get careless and fall in. Now my lab setup is going to be tricky, but at this point I'm going to build 3 different systems that are automated, all within range of each other to supply each other. The first system is going to be at the water edge in range of the algae machines. Also, I should show this because here's some actual footage of it, finally, but I can make circuit boards, which is quite helpful, but they are expensive, as you can see. Speaking of expensive, big equipment, I just got the tier 5 drill as well. But back to science. I want to automate bacteria to be on demand, so I make some autocrafters here in range of water collectors and algae machines. I move things around a bit and I fine tune it, but to give you the gist, I put farms here which will grow veggies I need to sign stuff up like those bio nuggets. I make a few storage crates here that will demand certain resources, like silicon that needs to be used as well for those bio nuggets, and sulfur as well. So I moved everything around again. One makes me bacteria, one makes me tier 1 fertilizer, and the other one is going to make me bio nuggets. It's a bit of a messy process here and redoing it several times until I was happy with it. Here's an in-game explanation at this point. I got a little bit creative with some things. These are 2 gas extractors. This one's getting nitrogen and this bad boy is getting methane cartridge. The methane is for these tier 2 guys here. So here we have all this being automated. Here we have fertilizer being automated, and here we have these guys being automated, and here we have this being automated as well. Back here we've got some squash, we got some, you know, all the other good fun stuff. Squash, here's some eggplants, etc, etc. So these are all going very well. There you go, so he's making his first level thing right there, which is good stuff. And then this thing can slowly fill up. There you go, so that's making the mutagen. Now I want to make myself some actual high quality food, which takes honey and beans. So I make some beehives for the honey, one farm close by that will grow the beans. And by now we've already established that I'm a bit of a swine. I tried to blame it on my dog, but she gets me back promptly. Excuse you, girl. Goodness me. Oh, Lily, that stinks, girl. Jesus Christ. Oh, Lily. Oh. Alright, let's see if there's any fish in here yet. We're well into the fish stage, but I think not until I actually release fish in here myself, we're not going to see fish in here at all. No, we're not going to see fish in here. Not until I release them. Alright, beans, the magical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. Alright, this is going to be my food location. My goodness gracious, the amount of worms that are in my garden is unacceptable. Alright, so here we go. These guys also make the honey, of course. And then this thing is going to grow the beans, and then boom, boom, boom. That should make me my good quality food. And then I don't have to worry about food anymore. That's going to be a huge relief off of my shoulders. Now I am using a lot of these circuit boards, and I want to maybe set up an automated system for them, but for another reason, and that's for trading them as well. They require a few things to make them as well. Before I get into that, I made a water filter, so now I can drink water straight out of the lake, and I have my first meal of high quality food, which is good stuff. Back to that system of circuit boards and trading them. I haven't stopped doing this base stuff for about 7 hours now. It's taking much longer than anticipated, but it's fun trying to make all of this work. Indeed, it is quite fun. It is quite satisfying as well. By the way, the circuit boards trade for 25 Terra tokens each, and I spent a little while setting this up, so I'll let past me explain. So what happens is I can set this to say automatically launches this rocket when its inventory is full. I can do that. So whenever this thing is absolutely full, it'll get shot up, and 25 times however many is in here, I'll get that each time it's full. So that's how we're going to get Terra points. However, at this point in time, I don't necessarily want to do that, but this is where I'm going to get all my circuit boards. But this is how I've gone ahead and automated one of these late game systems. It takes a little bit of effort, but there you go. Final explanation here. So we have a thing here: aluminium, zeolite, silicon, iron, and then we've got nitrogen and these mushrooms, plus water that's available down there, making these guys, which then is used to make these guys. And then that is how this late game thing is done. Alright, time passes, and I find myself making some silkworms, and here's a decent tour of the base. I'll give a quick demonstration here. This is my television room. I've built this up. I've got some flowers and everything. I've got an aquarium here, so in preparation for when I put some fishies in there. Got all my screens there, which is looking good. I've put some lighting in here as well, so it's looking very snazzy. I'm quite pleased with it. And teleporters in here. We got a food and water thing. I've got them putting all the food in here as well, which is good stuff. And I'm slowly now also improving this room here, which is the science room. So what I want to do is I want to make a bunch of these silk generators, which is going to take a little bit. We got 8 of these things, so I can make 8 trees at a time, because we need 8 trees for every single thing, so that's going to be good. Got some extra storage here that I'm going to use for worms and just tree stuff, etc. And then 4 of my incubators as well, which is also good stuff. Just so you are aware, I have gone ahead and pretty much emptied everything that's over in here. You can see I've moved one biodome over, so it's no longer there. But at the moment, this entire place is empty, except for this one chest, which has got everything ready for the next heater. So everything is gone. So I'm ready to just take this down whenever I've finished setting up the new base. And it's looking good. Things are looking very good, and I eventually placed down those silk generators. I've been talking about fish for ages, and I see that I can make them in the incubators as well, but I need plankton to make them, and that eludes me. I won't let these heaters elude me. I'm making a lot of super alloy rods using my new system, which is so good. Now, I spent well over 7 hours, maybe even 10, just messing around building my base, trying out automation, so I kind of forgot where I was up to. I look at my blueprints, and I have a portal generator coming up shortly, and the bigger backpack. The water life collector is what I need for plankton, but my god, look how far away I am from that. That is crazy. I need a lot more oxygen. And then there's even some animal stuff down the line. My biomass is also kind of lacking, so I really need to pick this back up. I start by sending a few insect rockets up, apparently spreading insects from outer space, which sounds like a sure way to kill them, but I won't argue. I will send 2 up right now. And this number is climbing now, surprisingly. Using my new 8 tree makers, I make the next lot of oxygen supplies in record time. They are ugly trees I don't like, so I plan on chucking them somewhere I can't see them. Thing is, I don't have any oxygen multipliers at all. Now, do I? Nope, I do not, unfortunately. Yeah, so no super boosts here. However, when I set these up a little ways away, I make an optimizer just in case I do get them. Speaking of which, I look at my other tree oasis in the middle of the desert. Oh, that's quite splendid. You know what's not splendid? Oh, that's interesting. As soon as your power is down, the drones also stop working, which makes sense, but I did not expect that. I guess I wasn't expecting that.
Fair enough.
So that is good to know. Yeah, that's a bit of a thing I need to be aware of. You know, that staying on top of my power is a must, especially with the drones. While I was doing that, I unlocked the tier 2 beehives, and they look like to be 20 times better than the first ones. Before that, this is where my oxygen is currently sitting for your reference. I send up 3 oxygen rockets because I need to skyrocket it. Quite literally. I don't want to read that number, but I can see that the ppm meter actually moving now, so yes, success. The water life collector is still a ways off though. I don't worry, because in the sandstorm haze, I throw down 8 of these tier 2 beehives. They look just like 2 normal ones slapped together, which is awesome, and I see I can generate 4 honey from them at a time. But I'm delighted to see a short time later that they can also generate bee larvae for me, which is huge. If you also noticed, I taught those hives to give up their honeys. I have an autocrafter here making the tier 2 mutagen, so it's going to be in range of a locker receiving the honey, another crafter making the tier 1 mutagen, and any random unlucky bug that's close by will be gobbled up and sacrificed for the tier 2 mutagen. Good stuff. Now I want to look at some endgame stuff, and that's going to be the portal generator. I realized that these take 2 energy multiplier fuses, and I only have 1. I can trade for them for 6,000 Terra tokens. I only have just under 10,000, so I'm going to have to trade a little bit of stuff for a bit to be able to afford 2 of these right now. Speaking of which, my first rocket carrying those green boards has been sent up, and it's going to take a little bit of time to come back to me. And while I wait, I'm going to send up more oxygen rockets. I get a little hasty and I try to send 2 right after another. And oh crap. Oh, send them both up. There we go. Send them both up. Oh dear. Oh, that doesn't work well. Can you go up? Yes, yes. Oh, change your trajectory. Yes, yes, there we go, there we go. Well, that seems to have worked. That's done the trick. Funny thing is that counts, and after every trade rocket sent up, they come back with 625 Terra tokens for me. I guess I have some work to do. I also sent up more insect rockets, trying not to send those poor insects on a crazy ride. Would you believe me if I told you that this planet has 550 tons of insects? Crazy. I am also working towards automating my tier 3 mutagen, and nothing crazy required for this one like honey or bugs. I simply put a chest inside within range that will demand sulfur. We never needed this extra laboratory. I was kind of thinking I would automate everything inside of the laboratory, but it seems like I've been automating everything outside of the laboratory. I didn't even need the lab, if I'm completely honest. Oh well, it's fine. Something else I don't need anymore is my old 35 space backpack, because I just got the tier 6 one and it can hold 45 spaces. A huge upgrade here, and that is the last backpack I think I get in the game. It's some time later and I finally unlocked the water life collector. That, and also I want to make these tier 2 butterfly farms. Now as I was running around collecting things, I see I've been hoarding these production multiplier fuses, which I haven't really used yet, and I can sell them for 5,000 Terra tokens each, and I do exactly that 5 seconds later. Now about those butterflies. Cool, here we go. So I've got way too much stuff just flying around there, so I'm gonna go ahead, and that can be Butterfly Island over there. That sounds fine. I set up 8 of them, and they do look pretty, and they take 2 butterflies or larvae each. I finally make use of those silk generators I made, and I use them to make these water life collectors that will gather up plankton and fish eggs for me. I toss a few of these down as I'm really keen to get plankton to make my own fish eggs. While I wait, I make a bunch of those larvae. This particular specimen gives me 1000% boost. Scratch that, the other blue one gives me 1200%. Good stuff. I launch a trade rocket for those 2 power fuse multipliers I will need for the portal. And as you can see, my backpack is filled with heaps of those awesome bugs. I think I had really good luck in making them in this session, to be honest. I also grab what I can from the water life collectors. Somehow I have collected fish eggs. without actually having any fish yet. Righto, cheers for that. Also, I decided to quote Chief Wiggum from The Simpsons. And we're finally going to start the animals, actually. If I can walk with the animals, talk with the animals, squeak and squawk with the animals. Anyways, this is my insects before I toss in heaps of those boss worms in those tier 2 farms. Oh my god, this is satisfying. Oh, look at all that gold, red and blue. Wonderful, and our GTI is actually skyrocketing as well again. It went from 23 seconds to 1 second. Oh, that is so good. Now that is it for insects for the time being. Let us focus on the animals, specifically fish. I'll make these tier 2 aquariums first, and I build them towards the back of my base. And making fish eggs is sort of the same as everything else. I didn't use those other ones I found because they were low tier ones. That's a ugly looking fish. We shall grab it. That's also a fish of some kind of variety. So what is this? That's the 200 one. This is probably the 150. Yep, 150. You're the 200. Can I have another 150? Nah, it's fine. Okay, cool. Excellent. Later, I toss them into these giant aquariums, and I can see them in the little fishing enclosure. These other tier 1 enclosures receive a few low-level fish, just for the aesthetics. Where has our animals gone up to now? The animals is skyrocketing as well. That is good news. We are moving well towards mammals. Oh yes, it looks like I reached the amphibian stage at some point. Mammals is in the future, but for now I collect a bunch of expensive stuff, including those 2 power fuses, and I chuck down this big bad boy portal. I don't have a look at it just yet. My eyes are glued to these amphibian farms. I toss them in this natural corner close to my lake area. All 8 of them, but I need to put something in them, of course. Now here's a gripe from my end for the game, one of the few I have actually. The only frog eggs I can make are the Hully ones, which need generic frog eggs as an ingredient. But looking at this, the generic frog eggs don't get unlocked until much later, despite the fact I have the second tier frog eggs that require the first ones from the same technology tree, meaning I can't actually make any frog eggs at this time. I mean, I can trade for them, but this particular scenario really bugs me. To take my mind off that, I try out this portal, so I make some storage outside of it because apparently this thing is going to send me to distant wrecks. So I scan the planet and see what pops up. 3 wrecks pop up. They show their rarity and difficulty, and they cost me a bunch of different quartz to open up. So after I get what I need, I choose the middle one, high rarity and medium difficulty. Moments later, the portal comes to life. I get some gear, water, food and some flares as I know what I'm in store for, and I fly into this portal. It takes me somewhere else on the planet that I can't get to without using this portal. You can't build anything in these distant areas as well, so you just explore and see what you can find. There are generally chests in random locations with some decent loot, but what I'm looking for is a wreck in this lava type area. Another chest here with some good stuff, but a lot of terror tokens, and I actually searched for quite a while. The view is quite nice up here, but no ship just yet. Until... Okay, I think I see it. Yep, I see it. Okay, this is where it was. Okay, I gotcha. Here it is. Goodness me, I was gonna say, I'm not seeing this wreck at all. Okay, this is where the wreck is. But before I even go in there, my bags are already quite full. Let's just see how I get there. I just have to follow this inner path, actually. Once I empty my bags and come back, they are like most other wrecks. The only difference is that they are huge, hence why I brought the flares, which I can drop at key locations, so that I can backtrack because you don't want to starve to death in here because you got lost. I find access cards in these wrecks, and I also use pieces of iron to also set up visual cues for myself in this labyrinth. It can be worth it though. Got a golden effigy. What's this? Insert this fuse into Optima to increase the speed of nearby trade. Ooh. Nice, I did not know such a thing exists. That's appreciated. Yep, that trade fuse will come in handy later. What comes in handy now is one of those many access cards I found to open this door. Excellent, so access card, and oh, look at this. I think we're going to be running back and forth a couple times here. 100, 500, and 5,000, that's good stuff. Nice, here's the energy fuse again, which is good stuff. Yep, so these ships have vaults as well with lots of good resources, but mainly you do them for the Terra tokens. This one was a little bit underwhelming. Everything you see here I got from that ship, but like I said, mainly the Terra tokens, and I think I got about 14,000 just then. I played a bit off camera, and as I did, a new rocket became available, the animal rocket, which increases that number by a whopping 1750%, which is huge. I have to find out more about those genetic traits though. Well, maybe this genetic extractor is the next thing I need to make. Also, because now that it's been a little bit of time, I can jump into the water, and it's true, we do have fish now. I do have fishies swimming around in the water here. It's good. I don't know if we get predatory fish. That would be interesting. I mean, I would imagine so. You'd have to have predators on a planet as well. Can you imagine some kind of fearsome shark? That would be awesome. Anyways, back to this genetic extractor. DNA, extract genetic traits. You can extract genetic traits from these items. Okay, sure. Well, I grab a bee and a random plankton type. The bee is sacrificed and I get a genetic trait, and it says to put it into the synthesizer to make a new creature. The plankton gives me nothing. That table down there doesn't have plankton, so that makes sense. I don't see this, and I try more plankton and fish eggs, and I have success with the fish eggs. And I think I realize my error now with the plankton. Hey, at this point, this is all new to me. The genetic synthesizer is slapped down next, and I put these traits into it. I read and I see one of them is a species trait and the other is a color bee. I am a little overwhelmed at this point with this new thing, but I do have traits, and I get more by slapping a bunch of flowers in there. I have what I need, which is animal genetics, and I send up an animal rocket. A rocket that, once it's in orbit, will spread animals around the planet. That sounds like a gruesome death to me. So I'm sending a bunch of fish into space, am I? I have a feeling this is just gonna kill them. But sure. Oh, that's actually very funny. I sent a rocket up into space, and it's just an aquarium with fish in it, and I've just sent a bunch of fish.
You sent fish to space.
I sent fish to space, correct.
Okay, fair enough. Sure, why not?
I can think of multiple reasons not to do that, but sure.
Sure. Why not send fish to space?
Later, I'm getting a lot of traits and somewhat paying attention to what gives me what, like the color, species, and size. I click the auto drop, and everything that can be dropped into this machine is dropped in. Eventually, I pay attention to those images on the right, which indicates which traits belong where. I make a trait chest called DNA because I'll be getting heaps of these. At this point, I was missing 5 different traits, which is true, but realistically you only need to have the top 3 to make a new creature DNA. I'm only missing the color A trait. I sacrifice a worm that I had to make to be able to get what I need. Okay, let's synthesize this creature DNA. Craft your first DNA sequence. Okay, how long do you take to do that exactly? Creature DNA. Okay, so insert into an animal shelter to spawn an animal, and it's going to make the animal thing by 1,000. Okay, so it's a bit of a long run and a bit of a confusing one, but I think I figured it out. So you just make a bunch of stuff. These are the 3 optional things, or the 3 mandatory things that absolutely must be done. And then these things can just come in if you want to. So as you can see here, the skin pattern, you can make it optional, 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 optional. All these are optional. So you really only need 3 of these things to make a species. I don't have the animal shelter yet, but I can make a fish farm. Remember my gripe I had about the generic frog eggs? I have 3 separate frog egg types I can apparently make. They all require the generic one, and I don't have that until much later. I think maybe this will be fixed, or maybe this is how it is supposed to be, but again, now there's 3 different egg types with the same problem. Rant over. I place down a fish farm and see that it just takes some eggs. So naturally I do that, and I'm delighted to see some very colorful fish materialize out of thin air. And then I send 2 more fish tanks into the atmosphere, never to be seen again. As I bear witness to my evil deed, I don't look where I'm going. Alright, so I went through the portal by accident. Oops. Alright, let's go back home. Only a minor inconvenience for one such as myself. Anyways, the animals is going up nicely now. I'm also 63% towards the mammal stage as well, which is good stuff. I scan for a new distant ship to pilfer. Unfortunately for me, it's the same place as last time, by accident somehow. The volcanic activity has become more apparent, however. Here's a milestone for you. No, not the ship. I'm about to hit my first TTI. That is amazing. What an adventure this has been so far. Also, hey, we have finally unlocked the generic frog eggs. I can now actually make frogs. Too bad I went ahead and bought frogs. Oh, that irks me a little bit. Oh, I must have done that off camera. What a waste of Terra tokens. But on the plus side, I'm starting to find genetic traits, randomly in vaults. This is one for bioluminescence, even more in the next one. Now I said I bought frog eggs. Here I am tossing them into this very vacant frog paradise, and they turn out to be really ugly red frogs. Wonderful. It is side quest time. Alright, so my partner is also playing behind me, and she told me about the secret room that's in this ship here. It's the ship that's closest to your base, yes?
No, one doesn't.
Okay, give me another 10 seconds. You should see this incredibly thick forest I have here, Kylie.
Goes up.
Oh my god, there are trees inside this thing. I've made... Okay, yeah, so go to the right. Following my partner's advice, I find this destructible wall that has a small bounty. Now, more recently, I shared the news that I became a father, so you're probably wondering how we are both playing games. Yeah, this recording here was on the 19th of May. I'm now sitting here on the 29th of September, currently writing the script, and my son is just over 3 weeks old. It's been a long time, and I know more patches have come in. I'll play a little bit extra and experience all the new stuff for completionist sake at the end. Also, I now know that this was Iglis's ship, though I don't know what kind of ship this was. Anyways, I make a bunch of generic frog eggs, which I'll use to make a bunch of the Aphea frog eggs. They weren't all that type, they came out differently, but I finally utilized these amphibian farms that have been empty for ages. Well, at least things are looking lively here now. I also want to create something lively here. I almost have all the possible traits covered with traits I found and things I've sacrificed for said traits. I hold off on that because I really want that final trait. And I make a couple of the giant tier 5 heaters. I can't believe I waited this long to make them, if I'm completely honest. I had the resources just sitting in a chest. I get the last jetpack upgrade, and as I'm about to make it, I realize I still need to make that warden key. That's something I've completely forgotten about. Oh well, at least I can fly quicker now. And at this point, I realize that the TTI is really taking its time. It feels like it's going slower. The only solution to this problem is by sending more fish into space, another 3 rockets. But is it just me or is this terraformation index thing not moving at all? It's almost like mine is stagnating, like really badly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it seems to be stagnating very, very badly. I don't understand why. It's like the closer it gets to the mammal section, the slower it's going. And I'm like, okay. It could just be in my head though, but regardless, I make giant pressure releases as well, and I make sure to optimize them. While I was waiting for the animal shelter to unlock, I had a look at some of my achievements I have to get for the 100% completion. Reach the mammal level, 100,000 Terra tokens, craft the animal shelter, get burnt by lava, which sounds exciting, reward myself with a cookie, complete terraformation, and I have a few hidden achievements. Here's one right now. Okay, let's do this. Ow. Okay, so get lava damage. Good stuff, good stuff. Wait, didn't I get burnt by lava before? Or did I have to stand in the lava longer? Okay, fair enough. I investigate this trading ship. I'll need to get some wheat and cocoa seeds, most likely to make a cookie, I reckon. I never found that missing trait, so I go ahead and make whatever this thing is. And I stare at the screen for a few minutes. Nice, new blueprint received, animal shelter. And reached mammal level and animal thingy. Wonderful.
Did you reach animals?
I reached mammals, yes.
Oh, nice.
I make my first animal shelter ever because I get an achievement for this. I make 2 because 1 is a lonely number. But I see I need wheat for an animal feeder, so I might not put anything in just yet because I can't make this feeder yet. I don't want this unknown creature to starve, but I can make some farm plots in preparation for those wheat and cocoa seeds. And I also see the final thing I have left for the game. The final thing here is the extraction platform, and in terms of biomass, we got everything. The final thing we need to do is the extraction. That is also going to take 5 TTI, and as I said before, that might be a grind. I guess I'll have to spend some time looking for those warden keys, so I make the key detector. Another achievement was to get 100,000 Terra tokens. I had almost 25,000 at this point, and I started to think more about the trading ships. Speaking of which, all my seeds have arrived, and a cooking station blueprint because I was clever enough to know that I'll need this. But these seeds will need to grow first. Alright, just for now, I'm just going to chuck it here. I've kind of thrown my thing into the wind. Alright, to make a cookie, indeed, I need flour and chocolate. To make flour, I need wheat, and this one I just need that. Okay, so that's not to worry. We'll be able to do that soon. Now, we're gonna have to do a lot of those Terra token things, aren't we? I have a look at things I can trade, or specifically, which is the best and easiest to mass produce. The circuit boards are kind of easy, I think, but pulsar cords could easily be made and they make the same amount of tokens. A food for thought at this time. However, at this point I was overthinking it. Exploring those distant ships yielded a massive amount of Terra tokens really easily, but I have other plans later on it seems, and I was going to take the AFK passive way, because I had other projects at this time, like my 100 days dinkum video. For now, I harvest my wheat and cocoa, and the first thing I make is the animal feeder with some wheat. I see I need to throw something inside. Well, I've had so much spare veggies, so that makes sense to me. And I also see I can throw multiple animals in a single shelter. I throw one in and I look for this majestic creature I've created using future science. Oh, here we go, and Kylie.
Wow.
Would you... Would you like to come see what I made?
In a minute, I'm just.
Oh my god. Okay, well, it's got the face of a leopard, but it looks like a bloody giraffe. It's got hooves, has a little tail. It's got... I don't know what the hell this thing is. What do I dub it? What do I call this thing? Yeah. That's definitely a creature of some sort.
What did you make?
I don't know, I just chucked a couple of random things into an incubated synthetic.
You tried to make something. Oh god.
I didn't specifically want to make whatever the fuck that is. It's not a good place to graze, but okay. That is a 3-tier whatever creature. Now, let's check out this creature. This is the one. Oh, what the hell is this thing? That's a mammal? Its hitbox is... There you go. Is that right? You pet the thing and it gives you more. That is curious. Where's the other guy? I have to pet him. That's right. Looks like I get traits by just petting them. Well, there you go. We have our first 2 animals. To be honest, I prefer the first one. The other one looks like some kind of... I don't know what that thing was. I do a little ship exploring next. And when I have the ingredients, I go ahead and bake myself a cookie. Alright, we can indeed make a cookie. And we've baked a singular cookie. Delicious. Let's eat it. Yum 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 yum. I'm running so fast. So fast. I made a few new creatures. Let's see what the world has given us with these what on earth are these things? Kylie, I've created hammerheads that are caterpillars. And they even have shark. Oh my god, this is like a land shark. Well, I did say something about a fearsome shark before, but this is not what I had in mind. I'll be completely honest, it's kind of disgusting. Well, whatever they are taking my animal points way up. Now it's time to start thinking about pulsar cores and how to make them in bulk, because I decided this will be my trading commodity. Honestly, this doesn't look that hard, so I go ahead and set up some extra ore extractors in the desired locations. Here's the iridium one, and believe me when I say I did all the other ones as well. Actually, you never saw this cave, but this is where I harvest zeolite. It's a really nice pretty cave. Anyways, back home close to the trading station, and I make chests for each of those resources. I've set my drones to collect and drop those resources in these chests. This autocrafter will constantly make me pulsar quartz with the nearby materials. This trade rocket needs to demand said pulsar quartz, and I then crammed 3 gas extractors in here and I set them to extract methane cartridges, and I think that covers all the requirements here for the pulsar quartz. I make sure to deactivate the demands of those resources in my storage dump so these new chests aren't competing for the resources. There's a bunch of production multipliers that I'm thinking about selling for an immediate payoff, but I'll make that decision later, and here I see the pulsar creators start making the good stuff. I put the trade rocket multiplier fuse into the optimizer so that these trading rockets will travel faster, but I also use a few of those production fuses to speed up the gas extractors here. Also, I finally found the footage. Alright, by the way, I was probably supposed to show you people. There's my teleporter, I was wondering what that was. This is that disgusting forest. Yuck. 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 I don't know what this stuff is, but apparently it gave me the best oxygen percentage at that time. Ew, what is this stuff? Now that trade rocket is going to take quite a while to do its thing. I made the warden key detector, and during a sandstorm, I decided to start looking for those 10 keys. They're just hidden across the map and I simply fly around until I find them. I hope I didn't put a tree on, a tree farm on. Oh, there we go. See that over there? That means there's one of these. There we go. And that's how we find them. And there's going to be 10 of these guys on the map. Can I not open this? Thank you. So there's going to be 10. There's going to be 10 of these guys. Well, 3 down, 7 to go. During my travels, I see something amazing. Future me, I'm just flying around trying to find all these things. The entire desert that was once here, it's all water now. I'm surrounded by an ocean. Oh wow! The entire map outside of, the external map has changed just into water. Yeah. Yeah, this ocean was that huge desert I tried to cross to find the survivors that went west at once upon a time. And I had an inclination that a warden key would be on one of these islands, and there sure was. You know how I said something about hoping I didn't build a forest on top of one? Well, I had the idea that the ugly mushroom forest was hiding one, and I was right. You also never saw this ravine area in my playthrough, but it looks like this now. Nice shallow rivers flowing through it. It's a pleasant environment for frogs, which I'm now seeing on the world map naturally now. Now this vine here looked suspicious. I climbed to the top and voila, another warden key. I visited the circle ship again. Oh, there's probably going to be one in the middle there. Yep, there is indeed one in the middle here. Looking at this, we only need one more. I come across a lot of water. Splish splash, I'm taking a bath. Yeah, I forgot about this one. There was like this giant cave here, and I never actually explored it. Yeah, this cave was blocked by ice and I never made it back here. There's probably a lot of places I missed in my playthrough. What I won't miss is the 10th warden key, and I did that in a relatively short time. As I'm heading home, I get another 625 points, which is what my pulsar quartz is making me every round trip. Later, I'm reading that message. Messages get saved, by the way, and I'm reading that one from the warden about joining them with the 10 keys, and I'm not exactly sure how to do that. Maybe that giant ship I found in the warden place is the extraction capsule. It makes sense to me. Also, this weird reindeer leopard creature looks like he's being worshipped by the frogs. They're hanging out with the frogs, apparently. It genuinely looks like that thing is being worshipped by all these frogs. Can I pet him? Yep. He gave me creature DNA? Are you serious? That's just a whole extra 1,000 right there. 1,000%. Well, that was a freebie. And I checked the stats. Funny enough, the animals has completely overtaken everything else in the biomass screen, which is astounding. What's not so astounding or surprising to me is that the autocrafter is full, and that the rocket is gone on its 8 or 10 minute trading trip, so this crafter is doing nothing at the moment. I set up a second trading rocket so that I can theoretically double the trading output once I set it up properly with the drones. And then once again I do a little exploring with the portal. I will just point out that I find a lot of access cards, and I seem to have a surplus of these things, which is really weird. I mean, look at that, I've got 8 of them just piled up, and I've also stockpiled about 54,000 Terra tokens as well as 2.4 TTI, so I'm making progress. So apparently I left my game running for like 30 minutes, with all mates' feet just in the water, which would get really uncomfortable after a while. At this point in the game, and at that time, seeing as this was recorded on the 20th of May, I had entered the final stages of the game, which was Terra tokens and just getting the TTI to 5. I had gotten a little bit bored with the portal explorations, which is a shame, because they really accumulate the Terra tokens quite quickly, but I think I had other projects going on and I was shifting their priorities because Bubs was going to be due soon. Now I think I discovered that the 100,000 Terra tokens was total accumulated, so I did some calculations on things that I bought and crunched the numbers on how much I actually had left to get. I set up another trading platform, this would be number 3, but I also make the decision to finally sell a bunch of these fuses I'm not using. These guys in particular go for 6,000 each, which is huge. So I sell them and I wait for the outcome, and while I wait I build more stuff to help out the terraformation, and while I'm making some trees, I see what I want to see. Cool, beautiful. There we go. And we've gained a total of 100,000 Terra tokens. I'm glad I got that on recording. So okay, that counts towards that, does it? I was also right, I only had 77,000 on hand, so it was a total 100,000 accumulated. So right now it's just a TTI and I'm 40% into the final stage, which is going to be helped by another giant forest. And I make sure to make optimizers with these two machines. I plan to have 3 oxygen fuses and 3 plant fuses. I also grabbed all the best trees I found while exploring all those ships through the portal. Here's a quick moment before I set this up, and you can see that the TTI is ticking very slowly. I plant all my trees and set my fuses, and I watch my TTI trickle, hoping that it would improve, but doing that has done almost nothing. Come on, man. God damn. I'll go and check the screen and all that as well. But that seems to have done, like, okay, there's a 9. So yeah, it is going up, but not as much as what I would like to. Like, at least it looks like I'll be leaving this on for a little bit. I mean, the numbers here are flying, but I swear this TTI is just not having it. My last grand strategy would be setting up rockets, and even more rockets. I did this off camera as well. I lost track of the amount of rockets, but later I see I sent up nearly 40 oxygen rockets towards the end. Actually, I'll make sure I get that on recording a little bit later. And after some time, my TTI is over 4 now, and I randomly came across another warden key, which was weird. I would have 11 now total, not 10. What, does that mean there's extras or something? Now, by this point, my screen had turned a constant green hue, because I sent up like 40-ish oxygen capsules or something. Anyways, I watched the last moments on the screen. Wait until later. And here we go. Infinity. New blueprint received, extraction platform. Reach complete terraformation. Beautiful. Before I build this platform, I want to have a bit of a fly around and see if any mammals have wandered off onto other parts of the planet, but I would be disappointed to find none. However, I received something. A new message has been received. Alright, let's go and check out this message. New large explosive device. Okay. From Sentinel Corp. Yep, there we go. Congratulations, our sensors indicate you have successfully terraformed your assigned planet. However, our monitoring indicates that your planet has an anomaly that prevents us from colonizing it. You must destroy this anomaly before using the departure platform so our ships can extract you. Please receive this recipe for an explosive device able to do this task. This is not an automated message. So there's actually a person on that. The year is 3059, so apparently I've spent an entire year in this game. So instead of 100%, I can even make this, I played 1 year of thingy. Well, you could do that, technically speaking. Yeah, I could do that. But I won't do that. What I want is the achievements. What is the achievements in this game? Is there going to be one for following these people, or is there going to be another one for following the other people? Am I going to be stuck here with one of those choices? I need to look that up, don't I? Now, as I ponder this, I can make this explosive. Now, I know what the anomaly is. It's that giant orb I saw way back when. I try to place down this extraction platform, but it won't let me do it at all, meaning I have to destroy this anomaly first. I have a quick squiz at my achievements, and yes, there's only 3 left, and they are all hidden. At this point, I guess that 2 of them would be escaping with Group A and Group B, but I don't know about the last one. Okay, so this is this anomaly, or whatever it's called. So here's one of these guys, and I believe this is the thing that they want me to nuke. I don't want to do that yet. The reason I didn't want to do it yet was because of these warden keys. How do I use them? If I nuke this, would it be a scenario that I lose my chance to use them and thus lose the chance at 100%? Let's go to that other spaceship first. I don't see anything I can do with this, so let's actually just save the game and let's head over to the other thing. I am referring to this intact vessel I saw in the mushroom cave because I thought maybe I'd use these warden keys here, because that makes sense. It's an intact vessel of the warden people that may take you to where they are. But where's the option to use the thing? Is there an option to use this thing? I'm a little bit confused. What's going on now? This strange device seems to open something. Is this perhaps not added in the game yet? Nah mate, as far as I know, it's there for decoration. I look it up, and it turns out I just go ahead and nuke the anomaly at this point. And nuke it I do. Oh! I run from the destruction I caused. Okay, I think it's time to leave. It's time to leave. Yep, time to leave. And discover I can now make this extraction platform. So okay, so now my understanding is we have a choice here. Leave the planet, place your fate in the hands of Sentinel Core. Or we do all these guys. So there's 2 ways we can leave the planet right now. So let's save this game quickly. Let's leave the planet and leave my thingy in the hands of Sentinel Core. Leave the planet with Sentinel Core. Though I do have a feeling that they're probably just going to kill me or something. Congratulations, you have successfully terraformed this planet. That I have. Look how beautiful that mushroom forest is. We got new points, though that doesn't really matter anymore. We will now re-examine your sentence based on the various deviations from the rules that could be attributed to you. Oh, we will now re-examine your sentence. I thought you'd say my sentence would be completely fixed. For the moment, you will remain in detention while your case is examined, Sentinel Core. Right, so they don't have any intention of releasing me. Yeah, so there you go. They have absolutely no intention of releasing me. Yeah, that is a huge bummer, actually. Now, as I saved my game, let's see it if I choose to leave with the wardens. Leave the place and leave the planet. Trust that the wardens are still alive and will accept you. Let's see what happens there. Leave the planet with the warden's portal. Alright, here's the second ending. Let's see if the wardens accept me. I have a feeling that they won't. To those who followed us, know that our destiny is that of doom. Okay, that's gloomy. Hope cannot be the only advisor. Sometimes life doesn't find a way. Hope cannot be the only advisor. Sometimes life doesn't find a way. Did I just shoot myself into space to die in space, did I? Sometimes the future is not bright. A warden. Okay, so that pretty much just means I'm gone. I've flown into the abyss. Oh, that's not a happy ending, is it? No, that's not. Okay, but wait, there is one more achievement. Now, the final thing here, for the people, is this. There's one hidden achievement remaining. Just one. But here's the thing. Subservience. Leave the planet with the smugglers. Receive a message from Riley that they have arranged the player's rescue from the planet at 5.1 TTI. Have at least 500,000 Terra tokens on the account and put 5 solar quartz into the locker of the extraction thing. Yep, you heard that right. 500,000 Terra tokens on your person. However, this won't be the case, as you'll soon find out. I finally get the message from Riley. Yeah, message from Riley. Hello my friend, this will be the last message I'll be able to send you. I've done all I could, but our options are very limited. I advise you strongly not to trust Sentinel Corps, as they have shown multiple times how unfair and oppressive they are. They could not care less about you or any other convicts. I've managed to contact a smuggler ship. They are willing to take you on board for 500,000 Terra tokens and 5 stellar quartz. Collect the correct amount of Terra tokens and all your departure platform inventory of the required quartz to board with them. They are untrustworthy too, and I can't guarantee you anything. Your future is uncertain, and despite all you went through, with what lies ahead might be even harder. I would like this to be a happy ending, but life is not fair. Right, well, with taking everything into consideration, I think I'm going to stay put on my planet. Yeah. I mean, if they want to come and fight me for it, they can come fight me for it, but I'm not going with Sentinel Corps. I've gone with him, didn't like it, didn't like the warden thing, and I'm sorry, I am not doing $500,000 worth of Terra tokens. That's going to be days and days and days of just grinding it. I'm going to interrupt my past self. He is indeed going for that 100%, which means he is indeed going for those 500,000 Terra tokens. But again, this was recorded on the 20th of May, so things have changed since then. The next recording you're about to see is going to be much later, which is in late September, when my son has been born and when several patches have been released. The day is exactly the 30th of September. Huge change in my personal life at this point, and my son is 3.5 weeks old. In that 4-month period, I did have some passive playing sessions off camera, and I actually left the game running, letting trading ships do their thing as I was writing the script for this video. Anyways, right now my TTI is above 30, and last it was almost 10, so yet time has passed. Enough time has passed, in fact, where some patches have come into play. Most notable is that Riley's email now states that the smugglers will take me for 250,000 and 5 solar quartz, significantly better than 500,000. As I was passively playing and trading those points, I was scripting this video. I finally got back into my 100 days Dinkum video because I had to stop playing that one last year because my PC burnt out. And I watched one of my favorite YouTubers play V Rising, so of course I really got into that game, and I made a 100% video of that because I wanted to make that one before my son was born, because that one was an intense game. Right now in Planet Crafter, I'm at 177,000 Terra tokens. What used to be a few trading ships is now 6 doing their thing. I also built at least 3 ore extractors in each cave for the resources, and I built more gas extractors to keep up production. My present self realizes that the portal would have been an easier choice to get the points, and I'll do that later, but for now there's a few new things. The vehicle station grabs my eye quickly, and also the ecosystem, and that's all I can see at this point. I slap this vehicle station down, peruse the terminal, and I can see I can make a doom buggy of sort, and I modify it with chips, like lights and inventory. So I gather what I need and I make this rover slash doom buggy. Here we go. Got ourselves a nice little vehicle. Drive. Drive. Nice. Only problem is I kind of have to get this off this giant platform of mine. Come on. Oh, this is precarious. I mean, the first thing you do is get your car stuck. It's the classic noob move. I dislodge it and I see I can drive this thing under the water, which is quite funny. Later I see it's a storage thing, and I conclude this would have been very helpful early on to lug stuff back to base. It's also unlocked in the MTI stage, I believe, so around the time I built my first big base. I see I can also just spawn it back at my vehicle bay, which is good, and I attach some things to it, but I care about the inventory. With this second tier, you can fit 48 things in here, so yeah, I'm a huge fan of this thing. The next item is the ecosystem, but I get distracted before placing it down. Oh my god, what is this thing? I'll check this in a second. But what on earth is this? Alright, so we've seen this, but this is new? When the hell did this thing become a thing? Where's this thing? Goodness me, that actually looks pretty epic. Yeah, that thing's gonna run amok completely. What is this oasis thing? This thing seems to generate worms passively for me. This would have been hugely helpful for just getting bugs every now and then, but more importantly, it generates a ton of plants. And plants I found was something I struggled with in this playthrough. Ah well, there you have it. While I wait for a worm to generate, I have a look but I can't see anything else worth mentioning in the construction menu. And yeah, this thing is going to generate me bugs. So if you've got like 4 of these guys, which you can very easily do, it'll take your plant life up, it will skyrocket, and you will then have bugs on demand as well. Good stuff indeed. Also, before I forget, oh yeah, by the way, I needed to show you at some point with the amount of rockets I sent up. This is the amount of rockets I sent up, and at some point I just decided to go absolutely crazy with the seed spreaders. And yeah, that's how I got my TTI up from that 2 to 5, but at the moment it's 31.58. So now, a little while ago I was whinging that I didn't see any mammals on the planet, but guess what happens at my current TTI? Yep, yes we do. Wonderful, look at that. So this is just on the map, I'm here at this place. My base is like over here somewhere. Where's my base? Like over there? Where is it? Oh no, my base is over there. We are over here, and yeah, here you have it. You can literally pet anything, and I guess that's how you just get your genetics up. You just make animal things, and you just go absolutely crazy with the animals. That is insane. I mean, seeing these new things, I would like to play this game again, but I'll probably play it for myself. I won't do another recording because with a baby now, things get the creature. With a baby now, I don't really have the same amount of freedom as I once did. A quick post insert here. I just found out that there will be a DLC, so very likely going to play that DLC in the future. Now, in regards to this, there are a few loose ends I want to tie up, as well as the final achievement. Most notably, Ichthys. I want to know how his story ended. As I'm traveling, I see more mammals grazing, and I'm loving this feel. I'm at the circle ship, and I see a new pathway back there, so there's definitely new areas as well, which I'll check shortly. Now, I really wanted to see Ichthys' fate. My partner, who's also played the game as you heard before, had in fact seen his ending. As I was strapped for time, she told me to go check a certain waterfall. There were destructible boulders in here, so silly me built the biggest bomb, and the only bomb he had available to him. But sadly, I was not able to put this bad boy down, meaning this was not the desired explosive device. Now at home, I had a bunch of blue chips, which 5 months ago were useless to me because I had learned everything back then, but now there is a bunch of new techs, mainly for the rover, like bigger inventory, faster speed, that sort of thing. And I kid you not, the last blue chip I had was the explosive device I needed. I set the charges, I arm them, and I blow my way through. It takes several bombs, by the way. Behind the rubble, a door that needs access cards. Once I complained that I had too many of these, and when I returned, I had exactly 5 spare for this door. It opens up into a very open cave system. There are several old buildings that are run down and resources inside. And finally, a building with a note. Does this belong who I think? Yes, it 3043. After so much time on this lonely planet, I think I found the perfect place to set up my final camp. This place is so weird. It's hostile, cold, and harsh, yet I found everything I needed to survive, as if this planet was testing my will to live. Yes, it was, my friend. You have done it, I imagine. I reckon Ichthys has done it. I explore Allmate's final home, as he calls it, and it looks like he lived quite comfortably. I mean, he had a working toilet and a sink right next to where he sleeps. What more could you ask for? Another message, but I'm going to read this one as in-game there was a sandstorm raging. After all this time, will anybody still be there for me? Will anyone remember me if I manage to come home? Wouldn't I be better off just staying here after all? This ordeal has changed me so much, and maybe too much. Another message reveals he finally gathered the materials he will need to build the departure platform. If his calculations are correct, it will take a year to finish the project and finally escape. Very nice big tree here. Oh mate. Look at that. I reckon he did it. I reckon this absolute mad lad did it. Read message. I know I didn't uncut I know I didn't uncover all of your mysteries, dear rusty giant rock, but it's my time to go now. It's my final day here. Goodbye, giant rock. Good riddance, good luck. There you go. He did manage to escape. Ichlis, my man. What a mad lad. I forget how long he was here. Like post-production, I can say, yeah, he was here this long. But 3044, I know in 3042 he was... Future me has the numbers. Ichlis was here for a total of 7 years. He was all over the place and he never gave up. In fact, so far, his story has a happy ending. Whereas mine doesn't. I mean, in one ending, the corporation takes me into custody, and apparently the wardens are dead and I float into the abyss with that ending. Maybe the smugglers. Before that, I quickly visited that new area, but I wasn't overly impressed. Maybe I didn't spend enough time here, but again, I was time poor. This is the only thing I want to showcase here. Here we go. Hey guys. I'll bet you. Genetic trait. Skin pattern color. As well. Now I had forgotten to turn on the recording, but I had just sent up a rocket with the right value of stuff to get me 250,000 Terra tokens. I spent maybe an hour or so just exploring wrecks for points and fuses to sell off camera. I should have just done that initially, but oh well. My partner mentioned one final place behind a boulder. Once this obstruction is gone, I see a red mushroom type area. Kinda looks like a nice full area. There is a ship to explore. Not that I really had to, but I had 5 minutes to spare, and I finally see what I want to see. There we go. We just got 17,550, which has set us above. So it is time. It's currently 10:26 PM. I need to be jumping into bed, but let's do this. Leave the place, and leave the planet. Place your fate in the hands of space smugglers. Alright, that definitely reminds me of StarCraft, the Hyperion. My friend, I hope we can meet again one day. Despite everything you have been through, your future is still uncertain. You will now be considered an outlaw, so you will need to be careful and keep a low profile. Well, to be fair, I was going to be put to death regardless. But knowing you, I'm sure you'll get through this. Good luck, Riley. To be honest, this was probably the best outcome. You are now just on the run. The guys have taken you in. And there you go. I just went somewhere else. I gotta go make a new life for myself. And that's that. That is Planet Crafter. Beautiful. If we go Shift Tab, you've unlocked all achievements. Wonderful. Subservience, 3.6 people have this, 6.4 and 9.2. It's done. There you go. It's a good game. I do like this one. I really do. I've played it several times, just for myself and with my partner and everything. And my little boy, I can see on the camera, is fussing. So I think that's gonna call it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this one. One for all and all for one. Cheers, Musketeers.